Welcome to the Cain Corner. I'm David, joined by...
And I am Gabriel Sinclair, and I'm here to tell you that Toronto is at a tipping point. 500 Orcish children are being demolished by steam machines as we speak. For a small donation of $1, you can feed an Orcish family and send them to Springfield near you to give them a better life.
Orcish senior citizens need your support. Survivors of the Orca cost need your donations today. And we're on part, I think it's 8 or so. Who's even counting? We're near the end of the Arcanum coverage. The Cain Corner covers Caladon. We're finally there. That's the topic. At a high level, we're arriving at Caladon. We're going to the Dark Elf realm of Senang, and we're going to Thanatos. We're covering sections 9 through 13 of the main quest per the wiki, which is interesting, Gabe, because we in the first episode or two we'd covered maybe 1 or 2 points per, and now we're covering 9 through 13b, which I'm going to label. You'd comment right before we hopped on about my muddled middle coverage. I'm going to call this the bloated back end of Arcanum.
No, this is a certified standard lynch, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, there's a standard lyncher, but hold on, let me hear me out. Arcanum has here's my proposal. We haven't done the final. I have not played the Void yet, so we'll see. Arcanum has a pristine premiere up through. You're gonna like this because it's very alliterative. Pristine premiere of Shrouded Hills through Toronto, and actually no, through everything until the Isle of Despair. Also, we're going to be very positive this episode overall. We're not going to be dragging on. I feel like last time we dragged on a little bit Arcanum, but then you have the muddled middle of sort of like the what is it, the Stillwater-ish
area.
Yeah, and the Dwarf Clan, Quintara. I was still having a lot of fun. And this one, I had some fun, but I couldn't help but feel we were in the bloated back end, where it was just like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm looking for murderers. I don't even know who they murdered. I'm looking for books. I don't even know which book is the book I'm looking for. That's my proposal coming to this. And then as I recall, we have a Kino conclusion in front of us. And I think that's the arc of Arcanum.
By very oddly well written text, like the fake prose book where you find out about the Dark Elves. If you actually read the prose, this is a high effort document that people will get just to complete the quest line. Why is this so high effort?
It is good. Well, that's the other thing. I feel like there's a lot of really good stuff in Caladon that is it because of the pacing and the plotting of the game is really under reviewed, and you skim over it because it feels like you're rushing because the plot itself is accelerating. And there's a lot of cool, and there's another good piece of writing. You know what I did this time? I did the what's it called? the Caladon Ambassador quest, the much discussed on the internet, which I've never done before. Have you ever done that before?
Well, because I'm playing as a terrorist, half of Caladon murders me on sight, so I couldn't do the Ambassador quest this time around.
Yeah. Dude, I've never done before. I don't know how the fuck you would ever play this. Get to it. It's part of the whole Willowsby thing I talked about last time, where you have to find this guy near the cemetery at the halfway through the game, or you're not going to see him. Anyway, it's really good. And that also has really fucking good writing, really good world building. I wanted to talk through that too, but there's a bunch of good stuff, but it feels like it's really, you got to hunt for it. And it's kind of overwhelming in Caladon.
I just want to harp on this early on. Our playthroughs are going to widely diverge from here on out, because I decided to stick not only being a toddlet, resaving after I make a bad choice. But yeah, I sided with the orcs. Build a bomb as an Anprim terrorist. Realized that helping the orcs turn Toronto into Haiti, having a Haitian revolution in Toronto, and kill all whiteys would slow down technological development. I already killed the king. I killed the tech bro king of Cumbria. So
my god!
Yeah, Island of Despair. Remember, because he was the king that wanted to progress. And I was
Oh,
like,
right, right,
nope.
right. Okay. I think you meant the one of Caladon. Right, right. The Cumbrian king, yeah, who wanted to make a comeback.
Yeah, and like industrialize the trad Evolian medieval society. I'm like, nope, no, you're not. Kill them right there. So I'm being consistent in my role play, and it is a bitch. So all side quests from here on out are basically going to be Dave.
Oh my god, dude! Like, how did that go? Because I remember, I think I mentioned it briefly last time when we were recording with Sim. I was like, yeah, I tried it, and then I took the boat to Caladon, and I realized it was attack on sight. Like literally, every passerby, every civilian, every guard, everyone in Caladon and Tehran. If you side with the orcs and the rebellion in Tehran, in that weird one little side quest, it's attack on sight. And I don't know, does Rosborough do the same and like as well, or is it just the city?
Only urban. So if you go to
Mm.
Caladon, all only urban NPCs will attack. Well, actually, that's
Probably
not true.
Hicklibs too. If Hicklibs sees you, they would attack you on sight.
I don't know if it's bugged or because remember I have the contrarian character trait, so all character reactions are doubled. You know how it says love,
Mhm.
indifferent,
Yeah,
hate,
the strong personality.
strong personality. So when I go to the hotel in where what is it called? The place where
Roseborough?
Stonehenge is, Rosborough. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to do the quest where you had to find the bridge, right? Because you talked to that journalist in there. And I walk in, and yeah, the journalist auto aggroes and tries to kill me. I'm like, it's not doing that quest. So
Oh my
so
god.
so it's mostly just the urban NPCs, like the merchants, which you can get a lot of gold that way. The guards, human and random NPCs. My favorite, never ask a racist what his friends say. As long as everyone else is racist, my favorite gnome who liked getting shit talked. The fucking orcs killed him too, which is a
Oh
tragedy. I had to
damn.
lose corpse, but he has a shit ton of gold in there. Um, but yeah, no, basically, yeah, all urban NPCs, Stillwater, Roseborough, 90% of them won't attack you, except for some reason random side quest ones. Apparently, it's completely random.
Damn, that's wild.
Dude, I
So
lost.
oh my god. You missed so much. How are you gonna defend Caladon? You killed
I,
them all.
well, no, well, you gotta hug the corners. Basically, you just hug the corners like a maze. You just had to kill the
Mhm.
lady. You kill 3 guards. You go through the graveyard. Also, I killed the widow of the author because I had to get the book for Durin's quest. So I killed the author's widow.
She attacked you on sight.
Yeah,
Dude, what the fuck were they thinking with this plot? What were they smoking in Troika HQ in was it 2000, 2001,
it's the
2000?
Cain Code. It's
You know?
they had a
Yeah.
version of this in Fallout One. Remember with the child killer perk,
Yeah.
where if you kill a child, you'd be instantly hated in all towns.
Pretty much. But this one is that, well, I guess it's similar. Yeah, it's just one side quest, but it is. I honestly, I don't like that it extends beyond Tehran. I feel like in Tehran it makes sense. Like, yeah, you got to the uprising, but it's like, how well would they know you in Caladon? It feels like there should be a time lag to let you. Maybe this is Todd's law, but I
Yeah,
feel
it
like it
is
should be
Todd's Law.
contained.
I
Yeah.
like the fact that it's like it's so. I like the fact it's so severe because my playthrough is completely different from any other. I've never done this before in
Yeah.
my last
Yeah.
playthrough Arcanum. So I'm like, fuck yeah! Like it's like this is actually real role playing. Like I am a fucking terrorist now.
Imagine if both of us did it and we came to this recording and we just both were like, Caladon's great. We just, I just killed everyone there. It was just a dungeon for me, but
Yeah, dude, I'm constantly force feeding Durin stuff in order to keep him in my party.
you got to catch me up on the door and like dwarf stuff. But okay, well let's try and do it a little in order. So we're kind of powering through a bunch of stuff. I want to get through Caladon, Roseborough, Senang, a return to Kintara, the Panarii Church. We dethrone the Pope and Half-Ogre Island, and we take a boat to Thanatos. So that's like a ton of shit, but it's very much like point to point to point to point to point, which is why I call it the bloated back end of the game, because you're just running around talking like one person in location, or I don't know. It becomes a little hectic, and I think this when His Majesty Tim Kaine talks about the game and simplifying to more Fallout 1 style. I think this is probably what he has in mind, I imagine. he's never really talked through it in detail, but this seems like the most. It's really dense with specific plot beats or like quest completion marks where you have to pick up a book, pick up a thing. And so, okay, I guess let's start at Caladon. Do you want to give a what is a Caladon even discussion?
Well, Caladon is the westernmost city. It's in many ways, to use a vampire metaphor, it is the Hollywood of Arcanum, where there's a lot of the great things in it, but most people only know like Toronto or the major stuff. Like people always say Santa Monica is the best level, and OST, Santa Monica. Like no, Hollywood is the best level in level design and aesthetics. Santa Monica was great in Vampire, but everyone knows if you listen to a Hollywood theme or Vesuvius, it's just because that's the first thing you see on your favorite meme reviewers, like clips. Isolation with Jeanette and Big Tits, even though Velvet is holler and much more of a trad mommy rather than that.
Amen.
Bitch.
Yes.
Caladon even has their own street lamps, which I've never. You almost never see Caladon in any big reviewers. You never see the interior of the church. You never see. It's really as Caladon is so slept. I don't think it even has a wiki. If you go to Arcanum fandom wiki, there's not even a picture of Caladon on the wiki. By the way.
Yeah,
that's how bad simpler. It is.
Well, you made a comment to me in our chat before we recorded. Was it yesterday? You're like, "Oh yeah, Caladon, has a certain beauty," and you mentioned the lamps in passing. I was like, oh, "Is it really different?" And so last night, I fucking marathoned Arcanum. I played for like 3 hours, unplanned. I was going to do other shit, but I was like, you know what? We may record tomorrow. There's like a 50-50 chance. I'm not getting caught without knowing this. So I pulled it up and I went back and forth between the because I have my saves. I have like one for every location. I have like 30 saves or something for this game now. And so going back and forth between the two cities, visually comparing them. And there's actually a ton of visual communication going on. Like you said, the lamps, like I would say they're more ornate. They have sort of like a, what's the term where it's like fluted and it goes down into these little like goblet white lamp posts, whereas Toronto has these single post, very industrial, minimalist. There's a lot of communication going on there. And the street themselves are, in Toronto, they are tinted yellow with pollution. And there's a lot of worn, rugged Zog slaves have been like trawling, and industry has been grinding this road. Whereas when you go to the Caladon streets, they're beautiful, light gray and pristine, and it's very modern looking. And so there's a ton of
even the street tiles look different. Yeah, they went so far as even to use a different tile set for our Caladon.
Yeah, a lot of effort for a game like this. It's a little bit snake-shaped. I'm going to go back to my Black Mountain Clan criticism. Toronto masterfully makes itself feel bigger than it is with a few carefully spaced green zones, little parks, and empty areas. There's a really huge middle green space in Caladon with a castle in it. And then there's a huge zoo at the bottom that nothing happens at. But most of it's just with this S snake that goes from the far left. There's like a little rural outer part with a factory through the main strip along the dock. And then there's sort of across from that's the castle. Then up north, there's the Panarii Temple. And then to the side, there's like a residential district. So it's a very run heavy layout is my critique of it. But visually, I agree. It is really pretty. And you can kind of see what they're going for.
Yeah, I think it's based on Dublin, if I recall correctly, Caladon, because Dublin retains a lot of that like charm. Like it still feels like a shire in many ways.
But it's very Scottish coded too. Like in Rosborough, there's a woman that says "ack," like randomly. I assume that's a Scottish like impression that she's doing.
I think Caladon, I think Caladon is from a Scottish, or it's Celtic in origin. I think it is a reference to either Ireland or Scotland, the name Caladon.
What else? I mean, so you didn't do the side quest. I'll just say there's like a nice mix of stuff. There's a Jack the Ripper style quest. That's sort of one of the big ones. It's actually teased in Toronto. There's a newspaper. When I went So the thing I mentioned that you made me go back and play through, I bought the newspaper when I did that, and the newspaper after you get back, right before you go, it's triggered to give you a story that buries the lead with a title that's called like Petty Theft Increases. But if you read it, the second story is like, oh, the White Church Murders, which is a Jack the Ripper style case you can solve. And I mean, it's okay. It's I don't know if I want to go into too much if you haven't played it, but
No, I did it last time, but yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because the relevant part isn't the main text, right? It's usually it's in the lower windows of the newspaper, if I recall correctly,
yeah,
right? Where
it
before
teases
it
you.
trains you
Yeah.
to see it's nothing but lore fluff. But this is actually pertinent to like an ongoing quest. Yeah, that was a brilliant design on their front.
And they also had the there's a thieves guild there too, which my guy did because he's a thief, or at least some of them. It's the same thing. It's sort of like what's the thing in Skyrim? It's the
Also, the Thieves Guild.
generic. Yeah, it's like the generic, like, hey, go here, steal this. You steal some armor from the guards. You steal something from. There's a little museum there. But you know, just to say, there's like there's a bunch of stuff they put in to do. I have a theory I want to give you though of why Caladon's not memorable, and it's this: Caladon doesn't participate in the central theme of Arcanum of the magic versus tech alignment in a meaningful way. They are labeled as a tech and magic balance, but there's no cost to that. And the whole framing of the tech versus magic is a zero sum game, and someone wins, someone loses. And I think that's one of the reasons that Caladon's kind of forgotten is it doesn't really engage in the Arcanum story in a wider way. Like it doesn't a little bit. It does actually in the negotiation quest, which I only ever did last night. So this is all new to me. There's actually some cool stuff there, but otherwise it's just sort of on the surface it feels more generic. I think because of that, except for the visual stuff we just talked through, which the reviewer class doesn't cover.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's when you get off the boat after you kill all the dock workers.
So for some of us, yeah.
There's no other way to enter other than the docks. You always have to kill. And the old lady right next to the left lamp over the bridge. Man, it is so comfy. It's very, very cozy, and it's warm compared. I was going to say, your initial point of critique was going to be my positive. Like, oh, Caladon has a point. Because the first urban center we see is Toronto, pure industry, no magic at all. We see the Tradcath Cumbria, right? You literally see a statue of the king sinking to the earth, and everything's run down, and the lamps don't work, and the signs are all rotten. But with Caladon, you see a third urban center where it's thriving in technology, but it still retains a lot of the trappings and the rootedness of its previous civilization. The castle, the beautiful stone bridge. They still have farmers, right? They still have the goats and the sheep. It's a mix. You have an urban center, but you still have a cottage core industry, right next to the bridge. So I was going to say that's a positive, but I think it's that beautiful equilibrium point. You know, when you reach the top of the mountain before you slide to your death, you could justify it that way. Like it's like with dandies when society liberalizes just enough where it's like, yeah, shit, yeah, this is cool. But then right before it becomes troon coded, that like goth culture.
Yeah. Is the week before 9/11. It's Arcanum basically, that came out like the week of 9/11. It was developed all during before.
Yeah, exactly. Caladon we were really playing the week before a magical 9/11 basically. And also to be fair, Caladon happens right before the ending, and everyone loves Arcanum's ending. And ending doesn't give a single fuck about the dichotomy between magic and technology.
Yeah, it doesn't. But here's my thing: if you're going to have magic and tech balanced in the capital, that doesn't make sense in lore because it's always described as like the existence of one negates or weakens the other. And so my counter argument, or like if I could rewrite the lore for the city, it'd be like there should be like a caste system or a specific like legalistic boundary of where you can do certain things or something, because there should be some way that they're reckoning with the conflict rather than just saying, oh, we decided to go with a balanced build. It's like, well, the whole point is you can't really do balanced builds super well in this metaphysical system of magic versus tech. And so they've bypassed and by extension, like just either ignored or made less interesting. But they do cover this a little bit in the. Maybe just do it now. The negotiate request. So the negotiate request. I mentioned last time you talked to Mr. Willowsby in Tehran. He gives you a bunch of shit. Anyway, I went on a whole thing last night. This is what the main thing I did. I went back. I loaded an old save, and but from before I went to Caladon originally, I went to the crash site, episode 1, the crash site of the IFS Zephyr, the blimp, and there, you know what I found?
The camera, right?
Well, I could have, yes, but this particularly, I found Virgil in his underwear because remember I ditched him in a ditch or in an alleyway.
Oh fuck yeah! He comes back to his spawn. Yeah, he comes back to his spawn point.
Back to his spawn. So this random naked white dude just staying in his underwear by the burning wreckage, still burning wreckage, and I recruited him back in because I wanted to give him I wanted to wear the ring and use him for the exploit. You know, the mod we
teleport.
have has the
the teleport thing.
Yeah, you wear the ring and he'll and you can make him give you character points for free.
Yeah, or I use it just for fast travel.
Yeah, I cheated to do this. I had him give me a bunch of character points. I gave myself max persuasion because I checked on the wiki. You need that for this quest. I talked to Mr. Willowsby's again from the start with max persuasion. He said, "Oh, you would be a fine negotiator." And I also gave myself a bunch of beauty too.
My lovable. Come on, you're just okay. That goes across the line of acceptable
This
cheating.
is the canon build for the record. This was a one-off. I played this for like an hour this way, but just so I could experience this quest. But dude, this quest is actually really fucking good. Like you should check it out because here's what you do. You talk to Willowsby. He says you could be the Caladon Tehran negotiator. Caladon wants to join the United Kingdom, which is the nation that Tehran leads. And he gives you a fucking book. And this is what reminded me when you're talking about that other book having like good prose. He gives you, it's like 10 points, which is like a multi-paragraph breakdown of like the legalistic agreements of Tehran and Caladon and how Tehran wants Caladon to have legal regulatory restrictions on magical practices in the city so that tech can work and other cool stuff like that. It's like, whoa, like this is, like, why are people in the street talking about this? But this is stuck behind a master skill quest. You have to have maxed out persuasion to even qualify for this quest. And it's so detailed because you have this like written out book. You show up, there's a whole new character that appears to introduce you to the castle in Caladon. You show up, there's like 7 characters with unique dialogue in the lobby of the castle that talk to you to try to offer you bribes to negotiate a particular way in the upcoming negotiations. Hello, I'm the ambassador of agriculture. Can you please argue this factor for agriculture? I will pay you 800 coins. Like 8 of that, or 7 or 8 of that, dude. It's crazy.
Man, I'm starting to feel like I fell for it again, supporting Orcish rights.
Yeah. you should have joined these. I mean, the Gnomish leadership led by Willowsby. And then you talk to the council, which is not too crazy. Basically, they kind of quiz you on what was in the 10-point book that you read, and then also about what people offered you bribes to say, and you can decide if you want to give Tehran a shittier deal in exchange for bribe money, or do you want to give Tehran the best deal, and Willowsby will give you master persuasion training and money. So it's a really complex, and it gives you a ton of lore on Caladon that you just won't get otherwise.
90% of players will find. Well, that's not true, because most people use high persuasion builds as their first. Everyone does a speech build the first time to play a CRPG.
Dude, I didn't. I definitely did. I mean, I guess this is my second full playthrough, and my guy, I had to cheat to get to see this, which is frustrating because it's kind of a broader thing I've been wanting to get to is this whole master skill trainer. Like, have you done any master skill training?
For firearms, yes.
Yeah, what did you think about it?
If you remember that one, it is, where is he? He's in Ashbury, he's on the bottom of the map, he's a priest. It's basically Unforgiven, you know, the plot of Clint Eastwood, where he used to be a bandit, a sharpshooter, but he killed a guy while drunk. And, you know, he landed on the temple of this OC pacifist cult. so he has given up violence. But then a gnome comes running. It's like, hey, my wife's been kidnapped. He's like, oh my god, it's the brother of the man I killed. I can't fight. I even cut. And part of the cult, they cut off your trigger finger, and you can be a total sociopathic asshole. And he's like, oh yeah, I would do it if you train me, but that will break my tenets of my faith. I'm like, well, I guess the woman's gonna die. He's like, fine, I'll teach you. And that's how I got power armor. By the way, like Arcanum has their own version of it's called mechanized armor, and it looks really cool. Even it keeps like the valve thing on the back, or like with the T-51 from Fallout 1. So you go to
cool.
and she always dies. She always dies. You could tell him, oh my god, yeah, she died. You couldn't make it. And he's like, no, I failed, and he'll kill himself. I guess I'm not doing this quest. So I reloaded to save. She died again. I'm like, wait a minute, I have a reanimator. So I literally brought her back from the dead. And yeah, the quest worked. The quest it actually does not fail if the NPC dies. If you resurrect the NPC, yeah, the quest successfully works. He gave you firearm training, and if you hoard fate points like I did, you can pickpocket the priest, and he has a looking glass rifle, which is like one of the best rifles in the game. So you get master training of firearms, and you basically get a free sniper rifle. Oh, and I forgot. During the Torontian Haitian Revolution, I also got a minigun or like a Tommy gun. It's basically a rapid fire assault rifle from the guards during the Orcish uprising. I'm basically
that thing is so overpowered, dude. I gave that to one of my companions who had firearm, and it was insane.
No, it's great. If I still had Vollinger, I would have given it to him, but he left due to reasons we'll discuss later. But basically, you finally get to feel powerful now as a firearms build. Like you feel broken now. Like I got my explosives up. I built a shit ton of dynamite, a shit ton of flashbangs, of stun grenades, of firewalls. Like this is Caladon is when during the bell curve, you have OP companions now. You got your goth dark elf girlfriend Raven. Like,
well, you don't have her yet. She joins you after Senang, but this whole western side, dude. You are so you. I mean, that's actually another thing we mentioned last time. Once you're over level 30, there's really nothing that can touch you. If you have an idea of how to make a build in this game, it was just I was just spamming people.
After Stillwater
popping off constantly.
Yeah, after Stillwater, they finally let you come during the cock and ball torture video. They finally let you come as a non-mage build.
Was there anything else in Caladon you wanted to do? Do you want to defend it more, even though you just murdered everyone there?
Dude, by the way, I played also 9 hours, but this is my version of me slumping it up into Dwarven Ruins while you just do a speech check 100 to talk to the Dwarven thing. If you remember that fiasco. It was pure hell. I played for 9 hours straight, but the main quest is so granular. So if you remember, you need to find out about the Dark Elves. Like, okay, I need to go to the library to get the 2 books. But wait, you need to find the authors. You need to find the authors' official records in the Hall of Records. Oh wait, that's all the way across town. Oh, surrounded by guards who are all aggros, and even the front desk lady attacks you. I have to shoot the door. I have to shoot the cabinet. Then you find the records of the guy. Then you go to Ashbury, where the guy's friend. Because remember, there's 2 different books on the Dark Elves. Because I remember you had to go to Roseberry. I'm like, how the fuck do you get to Roseberry? And I finally got the book that where it says Roseberry Gift Shop in the graveyard of Caladon, but it doesn't put Roseberry on your map. I'm like, wait a minute. If I remember last time I played, because that's how did you discover Roseberry, right? It's from the graveyard, right? You dig up his grave in Caladon, and that's how you find it.
Oh, dude, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. So the standard way you go to the Hall of Records in Toronto, which is weirdly the back half of the game, you have to go to 5 times if you want to discover a couple other side quests and shit. It just becomes I don't know what to do. Just go there again. Which is crazy. But in the standard way, which thank you for bringing it up because I should have mentioned this, is you go to the widow's house, you talk to her, and she says, because you want to find there's a book, The Horror of Senang, which tells where the
Oh
location.
no, the widow isn't in Toronto. The widow is in Caladon.
She's in Caladon. Yeah.
And you kill her instantly.
Yeah.
I lit her on fire. I firebombed the bitch.
Another burned woman. In the native way, you talk to her, and she just tells you, he said he buried it where no one find it, and there's another hint. It sort of hints that it's at the burial ground of his father. It was obvious hiding place. You dig up your dead father and you shove the book in with him, of course. But then there's a whole side plot of finding out who murdered him, which why does it even matter? But you can pursue that. I actually bugged out for me, so I didn't even solve that. Like, you're supposed to. This is why it feels kind of bloated. Like, a lot of these quests I find really hard to follow the logic of. You find a passport behind her couch. You find it. It leads you to the home of the guy who's her butler. You find a letter that says, "Hey, butler, here's money for murdering that guy." But then you talk to her, you talk to him, nothing happens. It doesn't activate anything. You have to go to Toronto, I think the Hall of Records, to find out where the guy lives, who wrote the letter, which is like a huge logic leap. It becomes very like Sierra 1995 point and click logic at this
pixel hunting,
yeah, just generally. And but that point that's what points you exactly to what you're asking, Gabe. That's the standard way of finding a way to Rosborough, because she tells you where the father was buried.
Yeah, and this is another great diversion point of me like accepting my fate as an orcish revolutionary fighter. I went to her place like usual, killed her instantly. The quest doesn't trigger, despite me digging up the grave in the graveyard for the book, for the Roseberry gift shop thing. So I'm like, well, how the fuck do I get? So I forgot the sequence. Also, a fun fact: if you go to the widow's house, she has a book on the Iron Tunnel. You get the glass key for to discover the 2 bunkers for the Stone Clan, where Durin's from. So
where do you get that, by the way? Because I haven't done any of the dwarf thing.
Okay, so you know the lizard people up north?
Mm-hmm.
They have the crystal you need. You can buy the mithril ore just for the dwarves. You just go to the lizard.
You need this though. Does Magnus ask you to do this?
No, you remember it's a side quest one of the dwarves gives you when you talk to the people. Well, you see, while the incels have to go fight in dungeons, you just walk around like a normal civilian, and they give you a side quest.
Yeah.
So you can buy the mithril ore, you go to the snake people, you get the crystal gems, you create the glass key, you find out where the bunker is, where they have an audio recording telling you the next quest is another castle. And you go there, but oh shit, you need a purple glass key, and that's only in the temple, that's in the Panarii Temple. And you have to find the bones of Saint Mannix, which is north of this is where quest logic gets super complex. You have to go all the way north from Stonehenge, find his bones, come back. I didn't
even do this shit. I just found out, like, before we recorded. I googled this. I was like, what the fuck? I played this game twice now. I never knew you could find Maddox's or whatever body.
Well, yeah, because remember, that's the only way to get Magnus. Magnus is the name of the dwarf, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called. I was calling him Doran. Yeah, Magnus. So you go there, or you could kill the archaeologist and you get the key, and just get the key to unlock the vases to get the key. But the problem is, I'm so hated, and I wasn't wearing my smoking jacket, because smoking jacket increases your personality by 20%. Sometimes as soon as I take off the jacket, Magnus leaves my party and gets all pissy until I feed him his dwarven snuff. So I'm constantly weighed down by dwarven snuff to bribe him morally. None of my other companions give a shit. And I have plenty of dwarves now. I have 3 dwarves now because I got that dwarven mage from Kintara, because I solved his quest. Because I found out it turns out, because remember, one of the lore aspects is that elves don't murder each other and they don't get jealous. But I forgot that it was something romantic. The dwarf has found out his master was jealous of sleeping with another woman or something like that. But yeah, I have a dwarf mage. I have a dwarf king. I guess I have 2 dwarf kings now, because Magnus is now made the leader of his clan. because of long hair, makes him since he's the last descendant of the Stone Clan, he becomes the new head of the Stone Clan now. Yeah, there's so much interconnectivity. Like it's so convoluted, but when everything all comes together, it really is a fireworks show. Like I have no idea how the scripting and making sure everything stays consistent and the backtracking. Like there's so many payoffs near this. Once you get through the convolution, it really pays off in terms of narrative because you can go back to Bates because once you find out about what happened to the when you go to the Dark Elves and they tell you what that the dwarves are being enslaved um, in the Void, you can go back to Gilbert Bates. Of course, I couldn't do that because Bates was dead, but but I was looking up a walkthrough because I thought I hit a bug because I finally went to Rosborough, but the grave because there's an animation to tell you when a grave is diggable. His grave wasn't diggable. It's like, what the fuck did I do? Yeah, this is 9 hours. Basically, yeah. It took me 2 nights because I could not figure what the fuck is this. Did I killing one lady? It means I soft lock myself out of the ending. That's not the Cain code. So I'm like, how the fuck do I do this? But yeah, and the thing is, long hair. If you unlock long hair as companion after talking to the Dark Elves, also Raven has unique dialogue with long hair of the Dwarfish clan, and then you can go to Gilbert Bates, and Gilbert Bates gets to finally be a weeb with a real dwarf like long hair, and because that's the brilliant thing.
They talk to each other.
Yeah, they talk to each other.
Oh my god, dude! How do you get? I can't even. The steps to get to this is crazy.
Yeah, that's the neat thing. Like they try to do this with Outer Worlds, where the NPCs or some of your companions will talk to each other or interrupt in a conversation. But this is much more rich because think about it. After the game doesn't tell you to go back to Bates. Last time most people talk to Bates is after the BMC clan, like because he tells you, "I want to know what happened to the dwarves." But the main quest is like find out about your destiny. Aeronax is coming. You can easily forget. Oh fuck yeah! Gilbert Bates asked me what happened to his like found family. You can completely forget about it. But if you do come back to him, and you have because the long hair will become a companion after you talk philosophy and get his son to take his throne instead of him, he'll become a companion now, and he will have you because the game has already established that he is a dwarf boo. The game went so far as to make custom dialogue when Gilbert Bates meets the current clan leader of the dwarves. It's like insane, for an NPC, dude. Most people will forget at this point of the main quest.
Yeah. Well, for NPC, for a follower, maybe 10% of players will get, and to remember to introduce him to Gilbert Bates, probably another 10%. I mean, it's got to be like 1 in 100 players at most that would like ever see this without a guide.
It's the little touches like this, or like fun fact: did you get from Father Joachim? Or Joachim,
Joachim, yeah.
Joachim. Did you find all his letters, by the way?
No, because I didn't have Virgil. So actually, I didn't. My first playthrough, I did follow up with Joachim, and I met him in Stillwater. But this one, I didn't.
Well, remember on the Telegram post in Toronto, he leaves you a note, and in Inns, he leaves you a note. Well, if you have all 3 of his notes, because remember in the Dark Elf City, one of the Malachian hand confronts you on the bridge. And Vollinger, do you have Vollinger, by the way, or no?
I did, yeah.
And remember, Vollinger leaves you at this point.
Well, after the Senang thing, yeah.
Right, because you confront the Malachian hand,
well, hold on. You. Let's do a little bit in order. Let's get a little back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, the interconnectivity is like probably one of those complex like RPG. Arcanum was probably before Baldur's Gate 3 happened. Probably the most complex RPG, even more complex than New Vegas in some ways.
In terms of the characters, maybe. But my frustration is how hard it is to get to some of it. It's very unintuitive. And I said that I think it was episode 1 or 2, like the walkthroughitis. Does it have walkthroughitis? I feel like it does with the Willowsby thing, with this, and just the whole. If there's a weird with the Master's Quest, there's a weird focus on individuating out each playthrough out based on skills you chose to level up, and then you get access to a specific quest you'd only get if you're there, which, Todd's law, make everyone can be the master of every guild simultaneously. And so the Cain code is you have to follow a specific, you have to make the sacrifice. You have to make these choices to access this content. It just becomes so severe though in the whole Caladon section because it's just compounded on itself over the game. With a guide, I can get a lot of this stuff. Without, I can't imagine how you would ever find half of this. Like I've always, and also like in terms of playthroughs, the game is so long, dude. Like, do I want to play through again just to see the Magnus scene? Magnus is king. I don't know. I might cheat it. Maybe I'll cheese it to see it, but.
Well, not gonna lie, I kind of want to reload a save because I saved right before talking to the orcs. Like, obviously, I'm kind of burnt out of Arcanum now, but I would love just to experience Longhair talking because you sat to fulfill Gilbert Bates's arc because you objectively leave him hanging. You left him hanging about what happened to him to the dwarves.
I've never seen how it's supposed to end, and he has. I think he has some more dialogue. I did actually test this. If you kill him and resurrect him, he does not have unique dialogue though. But otherwise, he seems like he has quite a bit. Like if you're female and if you come back and such.
Yeah, it's such a Cain coded thing where a beginning early character has end game content where a character you will meet. He's basically a tutorial man. He is basically a tutorial man. He's Virgil's tutorial man. Virgil's tutorial man to the T.
Yeah, but he's like the main quest. Like here's who you report back to. Setup guy.
Yeah, I'll tell him to fuck off, or he fucks up by himself. But it's such a unique. And you're right, it compounds. There's a lot of compounding going on near this because again, Longhair only happens if you learn about Dwarvish mythology from one shopkeeper in a god awful designed dwarf clan level. If you find the one shopkeeper who will tell you about Dwarvish philosophy, you theory cell at him. Then he's able to become a companion 2 hours later. Once you talk to the Dark Elves, and then you talk to Gilbert Bates in front of him.
So you had to do the next area or two we're going to talk about, and then you had to go back to the dwarf area with no other incentive to recruit this guy, right?
Well, you also have to tell him what happened to the dwarves. Remember, because he would logically. It's a world building thing, right? It's all about character incentives, right? A dwarvish king would want to know what happened to an ancient dwarfish family clan, right? And also Raven has dialogue with him because remember the elves and the dwarves have beef, so Raven has unique custom dialogue with Longhair. Longhair joins your party, and then you both go to Toronto to tell Gilbert Bates because again, this is being consistent to character motivations, right? What do characters want, right? Gilbert Bates is a designated dwarf weeaboo, so he would naturally want to know what happened to the dwarves. Why are they in the void? Are they in the void? So forth.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, maybe I'm just being a toddlet where I'm like, I never had a cookie trail suggesting I go back there, and so it literally never occurred to me in my first playthrough of the game. Or honestly, this one I purposely screwed over Gates, but okay, well. Let's
did I. He's dead. I mean,
yeah, he is dead. He held back the Orcish Revolution. Let's go back a little more in order because we did Caladon. Caladon. You dig up your first dead body. Was it Victor Misk's grandson or son? And then it leads you to there's like a hint in his grave, and the widow says the body is, check out the body in Rosborough. So you travel up to Rosborough. Rosborough, I guess it's just sort of a vacation area. There's this Stonehenge thing, which is kind of like, oh, what's the point of that? You go up, you go to the hotel, and there's you could just dig up the body if you want. You can just show up, dig up the body of the original Victor Misk, or is it Victor Misk or is it some other Misk? The father, the grandfather. The old guy, and you get Harm of the Dark Elves. The OG copy is there, right?
Yeah. Did you read it, by the way? Did you read it? Did you read that, by the way, or no?
I did. Yeah, it's been like
it's well written.
Yeah.
It's his love story about fear, and he finds his dark elf waifu, which is Raven. I think Raven was his ex-lover.
Yeah.
Because
Well, she wasn't a
you
dark
know,
elf, but yeah,
or
just his
sorry,
elf
elf.
waifu.
Yeah, yeah, and he describes the tree. He was hiding in a tree, and he was trembling with fear, and it was gnarled over like an oaken heart. Like the prose is oddly high effort for a purely slot plot point
Mhm.
book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they definitely put in the effort on a lot of the little books. There's also a cute little Frankenstein, like a little mini Frankenstein flash fiction in the Toronto library that was pretty good, where someone like revives a corpse. But you dig the corpse. You know what else you can do here? If you want, you can talk to the if you save the passport and the matchbox stick from the quote unquote gnome who you found dead on the IFS Zephyr, you can talk to the lady at the hotel here, and she'll like tell you the story. Hey, do you ever see a gnome? And she'll tell you. She'll kind of like unravel a little bit of the mystery and say, "Oh, yeah, he just appeared from the Brogdar area, and he looked very disheveled and confused, and he asked where he could get a fake passport. So I told him to go to a guy in Caladon." And then if you go to the Thieves Guild in Caladon, there's a guy that you don't have to be in the Thieves Guild. You can talk to the guy and he'll tell you like, oh yeah, he came here. I gave him a thing. It was fishy. And then the Dark Elves came and threatened me to kill me if I ever talked about it again. And so there's no real purpose to this, but it just closes the loop. And it informs you a little bit earlier for sure that there's something going on in terms of like the Brogdar stone circle is connected to the where he came from.
Yeah, that's just such a neat touch. It's purely a world building thing, right? Because it has basically fuck all to do with the main plot. It just ties the a knot with the dwarf, the void escapee dwarf, and just
Yeah.
ties it into the world. Because
Yeah, and it rewards you if you held on to this shit for like 30 hours of gameplay. You've had this matchbox in your little matchstick box in your inventory.
same thing for the camera, right? You could sell the camera to Shroud, I think to the guy in Shrouded Hills,
Yeah,
or
Ritz's.
or you could take it to. There's also a guy in Caladon you can give the camera to, if I recall correctly. Am I
Yeah, I never did
remembering
that.
right? I'm
You might
pretty
be
sure.
right. I just don't. Oh, you're right. Yeah, the guy at the factory, the Maximilian, the guy who invented the machine gun.
Yeah, he also invented the planes, if I recall correctly, right?
He did. Yep, you're right. Yeah, and he was like he wanted proof the planes could fly, so you could give it to him as well. Or no, actually, I think that's the primary use of that is you give it to him and then he rewards you, which I think I did do in this playthrough. There's nothing too crazy as I recall, but yeah, what else with Rosborough? It's kind of a small town. You get a couple of I got like a little quest to save a halfling from a prison, which I did that back in Caladon. But was there anything else like you remember? You said no one attacked you there, right?
And other than a journalist in the lobby. And I remember the lady telling me about the matchbox, about the dwarf. Oh, he just showed up one night looking for. He looked at this. Yeah, I remember that part. But I was already so frustrated because I reloaded multiple saves. Because I found the Dark Elves, but they killed me on sight, even though I was wearing the Malachian hand necklace. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Roseboro?
No, because I was trying to figure out how to get to the Dark Elves, and I finally found the Dark Elves. I looked at the coordinates, or I cheated, and
Wait,
yeah.
no, hold on. No, Roseboro. Was there anything else in Roseboro or no?
Roseboro, well, there's a gift shop. Well, because I was constantly reloading saves, right? Because remember, I got stuck on trying to get to fucking the second grave to unlock his grandfather's grave for so long, right? Because
you said that the journalist attacked you on site
in the hotel lobby. Remember, there's the journalist in the hotel lobby.
But the rest
Roseboro?
didn't? Yeah, I do remember him, but it was because he's an urbanite, he attacked you?
He's the only one that aggroed on me. Everyone else didn't. Yeah, it seems to be slightly random.
That's crazy. Just the shit-lib, detector goes off and he sees you.
Well, no, he should be pro shit-lib. I was an Orcus revolutionary. To be fair, it was very easy to roleplay as a terrorist now, because that's basically what I was.
Okay, wow.
I enjoy the pain. I'm actually feeling the consequences of my role playing. I've been blowing up steam engines in Shrouded Hills. I've been burning pro tech women. And like this is where my consequence for role playing actually happens. Like I actually kind of like the fact that all urbanites aggro on you on sight, as long as the game is beatable. Yeah, this is my I'm a bomb throwing terrorist. I'm being treated like a bomb throwing
Thank you,
terrorist.
Tim Kaine. Very cool.
Dude, it was driving me crazy. Did you find the guy in Ashbury who was the friend? Did you go to the Ashbury guy? Because he's one
Friend
who
of
tells
what?
you
Which
where
one?
to. Because remember, in order to unlock the Dark Elves, I think you had to go to Ashbury to talk to the guy who was friends with the author of the Horror of the Dark Elves. Remember?
Dude, I genuinely don't remember. That's why I call this the bloated back end, because the amount of just like zipping to one place to talk to one, like who the fuck are you even, to zip to the next one is crazy. Like I literally cannot remember like some of the individual plot points, because like I said, like at least a third of the entire quote unquote like plot points of Arcanum we're covering today. And so much as you show up one place, you dig up a corpse and you zip off. You're probably right. I do not remember the Ashbury dude at all.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the person listening to this who's played Arcanum like 6 times is going to call us all like tourists.
They're not wrong.
If you had the coordinates to Dark Elves, you can just go directly to it. If you speech kill, if you have
you can. The journalist you killed, he actually tells you there's a land bridge that connects. It's this fucking same thing as the Gorilla Valley we're bitching about with Sim, between Stillwater and Kintara.
Yeah,
it's the same
you
thing
gotta
at
take a
the
picture of a
north, the
demon, right?
West Coast.
Don't you have to take a picture of something? Doesn't he give you a camera and you have to take a picture of something?
There's a giant dragonling and you kill it, but you don't even have to kill it. But just north of it, there's a bridge that connects you that no one else in the world knows, so no one can walk anywhere in this world except for you. But I'm sorry, dude, you were getting to Senang, and I was like, well, hold on, was anything else on Rosborough? Which I think we got everything. The only one little side thing, there is the backstab master trainer there. I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but it's kind of funny. Like you train with him, and then because he's the backstab guy, he tries to murder you after, and he gets like a free stab on you, which is actually a really clever bit of like gameplay, ludonarrative harmony. The fact the backstab trainer gets a free backstab attack on you, but
it's
yeah,
immersive.
that was it. Yeah, it's immersive. But yeah, if you want to do Senang, because honestly, I pulled the game on the Senang. I just killed everyone. I have basically no content on Senang.
Really? I thought I played it badly. So after 9 hours of wiki hunting, because I didn't want to cheat, I want to do it from memory. I'm like, oh fuck, all quest NPCs are attacking me on sight. How the fuck do I get to the Dark Elves? So I get to the Dark Elves. I got the Milwaukee hand necklace. I walk in. There is a Dark Elf waifu out there, and she talks to you. She's like, oh, I've seen you in my dreams. And you have a destiny, Mr. Theodore Build a Bomb. But don't you believe she says talking about ethics? Do you like? She's like, I do not like my ways of my people. They're far too cruel, and I believe that the ends must also reflect the means. That's the only way to be ethical. Don't you agree? And I'm like, ma'am, I've had thousands of Torontian children gang raped by orcish workers. The ends justify the means, sweetheart. And I'm like, hey, do you want to be a companion? She's like, fuck no. After I tell her that, I don't know, because remember, companions are tied to your persuasion stat. So I don't know if I was locked out for being a companion because of persuasion, or because I'm like, yeah, no, the ends always justify the means. I blew up a city, sweetheart. Yeah, the ends justify the means.
Did her response give you a hint? Was it like, you have too many party members? I'm not comfortable with that. Or you're just too damn evil.
No. She says, yeah, I don't think I can. I don't think I can join a party with your ethics or of your manners. So she brings up the ethical point. So if it's because I was a true cell, I was true theory cell, and I was just too dedicated to praxis, fucking thumbs up. That was because back is also like that if you side with the necromancers and Schuler.
Right.
Yeah, he won't join you. So I hope that's the case. That's something. How autistic the reactivity is at this point in Arcanum, I can totally believe that she refuses you just because you're a true cell praxis, Chad. So she sadly doesn't.
Is your alignment good or evil?
Do
you know?
I need to check. I think I'm still good, despite
that might be what have fucked you up. The game, dude. This game is so one of the busted parts is the whole good evil. It's so hard to be evil unless you just like tease homeless people, like we've talked about before, and just say no money for you, you slag. Otherwise, like if you complete every quest you complete gives you like my guy is good and he's been a real dickhead and he's also like plus 20 good.
Yeah. Turning Rhodesia into Zimbabwe with the orcish workers isn't nearly as bad as teasing a homeless person 5 times in a row.
I literally don't know if you get any evil points for that. It's very subjective, I guess, is the
Just like
lesson.
real life.
Yeah. But
But
so
no,
you talked to her, but she didn't join you, but she gave you the information.
yeah, she tells you, she's like, I've seen you in my dreams. I know your destiny's tied to Tehran. Like, she goes full boat woman. Oh no, sorry, she goes full Jeb from Morrowind on you. And then you talk to the lady about, yeah, I'm totally part of Malachian Hand. By the way, can you tell me what happened to the dwarves? And you can ask dialogue about, you can ask Magnus what his thoughts on Dark Elves, and ask Vollinger. And of course, Vollinger is very cagey about Dark Elves. And then when you leave the lady's house, the leader of the Dark Elves, then you get threatened by a Malachian Hand assassin on the bridge. And of course, I went full Indiana
Yeah,
Jones. I
the
just shot him.
leader of them.
Yeah, I just fucking
Yeah, he's like
shot
their
him
general.
because I forgot. I didn't collect all the Yakum notes because apparently, if you collect all the Yakum notes throughout the game, one in the magazine or a newspaper in Toronto, one in the inn. I think there's two in inns scattered throughout Arcanum through the main quest. Yakum will tell you about he'll give you the deep lore on the Malachian Hand, and you can pass a speech check
Yeah.
on the leader.
They're super anti-undead. That's their thing. They're anti-evil magic. But
Yeah,
unbeknownst to them, they're serving evil
a necromancer. Yeah, they're serving a necromancer.
Their nightmare.
Yeah, and also it's revealed that
But not even
Vollinger,
they know that yet. You know, even the dark elves, they think they're serving Aronax.
right,
And so do they.
and the thing is, the Dark Elves have been rewriting the regular Panarii. If I remember, yeah, they've been rewriting the Panarii religion, right? Because
Well, that's the next plot beat. But before we go there, let me give you my Senang experience because you mentioned you pretend to be Malachian Hand, but you didn't mention you have to have a Malachian Hand necklace.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you've been collecting Malachian Hand necklaces from the Malachian Hand guys that attack you every 30 seconds you fast travel anywhere. Hope you didn't pull a David, even though I played this fucking game before and I forgot and I showed up without any necklace. Dude, I was just like, fuck it. I just started massacring them. I freed the half-ogres. This is my Gabe true cell moment of freeing the half monster people. And I just killed everyone. And then I got a letter off whatever your girlfriend there's corpse that was like, you know, we're gonna do this, and you know, we're taking over. We serve the evil lord. And then this is again, I genuinely I cannot fucking remember the exact plot beats of this part because it's so bloated. But it's just like it just tells you that they're evil, and then you're like, oh, I should talk to Raven. I should go to Kintara again to talk to Raven and do nothing else. Is the plot beat?
Well, Raven becomes your girlfriend at that point, and she very eagerly wants human dick. By the way, the subtext is very thick about her wanting to leave with the main player. Does she flirt with you even if you're a halfling?
You do not get flirted with as a halfling. She wants the BHC, not the BHing C. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, white human male reset button.
Yeah, she wants that industrial pounding.
What would be a version? Oh yeah, what bait cock reset button?
Yeah, it's Senang. It's a as a combat dungeon is pretty quick, you know. And then in terms of interactive, I don't think there's a ton there, right? I think it's another one. There's like 3 or 4 characters to talk to. You're out. You go back to Kintara, which has nothing new as far as I recall. You literally just go back to talk to Raven again. So again, remember, you're walking like really far across the map, and then Raven joins you and says, we need to look at clues at the Panarii Temple, which is what you were getting to. Sorry, I just want to make sure we didn't skip a beat. I want to cover each of these little nuggets as we fit, because we're kind of fast forwarding through a lot of Arcana with this one. But it's just, again, my point about it being, it's mostly fun, But this is the part of the game where I sort of get fatigued with. That's why I call it bloated, because I just there's so much quote unquote fast travel, which I think is one of the weak points of the game. I was even thinking, like, would this game be better with just like a point travel system where you just click a button? Like, did they just carry over the fast travel from Fallout because they knew it worked, and it was fun, but they didn't really think about if it added to the game? This is really where you feel it, because you're just going back and forth between different points.
Well, this is where I think Samsara's critique was more accurate. If they just had more random encounters instead of just Malokian hand spam, random forest creature spam. Like, they have quote unquote random encounters or unique things on a map, but when you're traveling by foot about 20 times combined, if you're doing side quests, when you're doing the skull digging, I think. Because the thing is, it has become, after the Dark Elves, it's Sanderlanching in reactivity. You can go, again, I went to the Dwarf King to get the Dwarf King companion, and he has dialogue with Magnus. Because he's like, oh, you're a real dwarf. A real dwarf is what he is. It's inside the blood. And then you go to, get all the reactivity, all the payouts for all the micro side quests. It's Sanderlanches from after the Dark Elf point.
You're so right. Yeah, it's a real Sanderlanche experience but it's geographically dispersed. And so you're cock teased over these long travels of getting attacked by 10 Malokian hands. But it's worth it, because you're invested, you want to see the thing. But it's like, yeah, no, I think, and we've come on this is like the second or thing time we've come up with the thing about the fast travel. And more I'm just thinking, yeah, if there was just a travel to X button, I think it would, like, that alone would. I would miss some of it's really cool the first few times it happens, but the map is just so big, and the travel is slow, and it's full of these really repetitive encounters. Like, that would have been a lifesaver.
Well, another way to solve this is pace yourself. So after doing all the grave digging, all of going to Rosborough, and I'd say literally end your gaming session right at the doors of the Dark Elves, go to sleep, wait for your next game session, start fresh. Because I think it's the same thing with the sewer level that brings down Vampire. Sewer level is the only reason why people hate Hollywood or don't think about Hollywood. People literally, on the replays, literally just quit the game after going to Hollywood because the sewer level is that bad. Some of the best content is in Hollywood. Yeah. I think it's the same thing here. People get dragged down the complexity of the or in this case, the excessive fast traveling and so forth. Where in reality, when you look at all the companion things, Virgil's character arc pops off in Caladon and after Dark Elves. Bollinger's character arc pops off. Magnus's character arc finally is about to pop off. And because Dark Elves is when Arcanum basically hits its peak in terms of reactivity. That's
is when you leave Senang, that's when Virgil says, I have to resolve something, right? And he leaves
because remember in Caladon, he looks at the grave of his brother. Because I think both him and Magnus are from Caladon, actually.
They are, yeah.
So the Dark Elves are actually a great level, or a great point in the game, but to get to there, you've already done 2 hours plus of drudgery to get to the Dark Elves, that you can't really savor it. Your taste buds are already burned. You can't really taste the pure joy.
And to get to the connectivity of gates, like you mentioned, or baits or whatever. That's kind of is very similar in that you have to, even if it's you have to travel to somewhere with a boat to get to him. I think you're 100% right. There's so much good stuff, but it becomes very dispersed. You have to hunt for it, and you have to pace yourself in real life in terms of like snacks and sleep and breaks from the game to get to it.
If you pace yourself properly, or again, this is where I'd say, listen, I know a lot of people don't like cheating, but just use a teleportation ring with Virgil. At this point, it would save you a lot of time, and you get to experience all the reactivity.
Yeah, I think I would do that in a future playthrough. I think everything after the Isle of Despair, I think I would say just start using the teleportation ring.
Because there's still a lot of good, and yet all you're missing is that Aaron X giving you hate DMs, and you have. But does he not? When he knocks you out unconscious, you have to wait. For me, it's like oddly too long for my character to finally stand up.
Yeah, it was not optimized. They just got to eyeball it just deduct 50 fatigue points. But if you don't have a lot of fatigue, you're just like, all right, I'll just watch the screen for 2 minutes.
I guess I'm gonna have my back and break now.
Yeah. I'm just taking a pee. I'll be back. And what's his name? Who's our little gnome buddy? Our companion who leaves too?
Oh, Bollinger.
Yeah. So the Vollinger one, we can just do that one real quick. So he just, as you leave, he says, "Oh, he's like, I guess you should know, I'm a traitor. I'm with them lucky in hand. I'm gonna go meet me at X location." Actually, no, he doesn't tell you that. He just says, meet me at X location. You go. Did you do this? You meet him in like a dingy, random shanty halfway, literally like over by Toronto. Like I don't know how the fuck else you'd find it. It's just an empty house. You go in the basement. He's standing there, and he's unequipped all the great equipment I gave him. And he's like, all right, just so you know, I was a traitor from the start. I'm going to kill you now. And you just stab him to death in a basement for no reason. I mean, he was part of the looking hand, but my guy wasn't able to negotiate him out of it.
And he was going to entrap you and kill you, right? Well, did you? Because he says, "Come alone." Did you actually like disregard?
I did. I honored it.
I was paranoid. Because I looked it up. Like, yeah, if you come with your companions, he catches with that, and the room is just empty. So, but the thing is, with how my personality was and how paranoid I was, I generally did not know if the orcs bugged the game with reactivity. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm like, I don't want to mess this up with all these companions, of all these reactions. It's bad enough I have to hook Magnus and all this stuff for him to snort for me as I kill civilians.
All the snuff, yeah.
So I'm like, yes, he's the firearm companion, and it would be nice. But on the other hand, I prefer having a mini army. So I'm like, yeah, fuck Bollinger. I was just a true autistic dude. I'm like, yeah, fuck that dwarf. Virgil said he had a bad feeling about him anyway. So yeah, fuck it. Let me just get Virgil back. Because at this point, you can no longer fast travel. When Virgil is out of the way, you can't use the ring to teleport. I'm like, oh my god, I miss Virgil so much. I'm just teleporting. It's like after you play for 2 hours without Virgil, and it's so sweet to get Virgil back.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, in terms of cheating purposes, you're fucked. Come back, Virgil. But he still works when you get him back. Like he's still Virgil. Okay, I didn't know because I know his like name changes or his like behavior, his image changes or something.
He's Virgil the White now.
Yeah, he's Virgil the White. Okay, well, plot wise, so we did Caladon, Rosborough. We're fucking like powering through these. Senang, Kintara, bounce. Return to Caladon. Caladon Part 2, motherfucker. The Panarii Church arc. This bloated. Like, what do you remember? Let me quiz you on this. You like this?
It's great.
Okay. Red pill me on this. So what's your defense of it?
Well, you get to learn the lore of it's a major lore dump. You find the Bible, you find a statue. You can actually read the Bible in the front room. You meet Alexander. I think his room is Alexander. He's in the room with the pews.
Yeah, the leader of the church at the front of the temple. Yeah, because you show up at the temple and what are you trying to figure out? You're trying to figure out when you want to see Nazardin's remains.
Yes, you have to find out what happened to Nazardin. And you can talk about Panarii religion, and I actually discussed the religion of stone and diamond. And he's like, oh, really? What do you think is the difference between the philosophy of the elves versus? Because he tells about the lore of the Elvish rebellion during the heroic age, about how Aranex was banished by Nazardin for being evil and being genocidal, and how the Elvish Council rules everything, and the elves. Yeah, they're not Elvish supremacists, technically speaking. They just think they should be in control, and when elves are so wise and stuff like that. And the Elvish Council was great and ruled everything, and everyone was at peace. And he talks about Elvish philosophy. He's like, what do you think? Well, and you can actually bring up, I think the difference is, and I think he jerks you off so much for this. Oh my god, after all these years of theology, I've never thought of that. And all my character said was, well, dwarfish philosophy is particularist, while Elvish are universal. That's all I said, right? Because the dwarves only care about each clan has their own folk ways. Their world is the cave, while the elves view everything as interconnected with their own place and their own meaning The elves are Faustian. Well, yes, that's right. We're tying it back into Spengler. The elves are Faustian, where they think everything is ever expanding in interconnectivity, while the dwarves are very polis oriented. Each cave is their cosmos. Right outside the tunnel is completely alien. It's within their mountains and their caves, is where their entire meaning relies, because that's where they grow up and actually grow into. That's all I said was basically, dwarves inside, elves, everything else outside connected. He's like, wow, out of 1,000 years of theology, that I've never heard that before. You really are the reincarnated chosen one.
Too easy.
Which, to be fair, I'm making fun of it, but that's still really interesting reactivity. Because you reading Dwarfist philosophy, yet again, all of this is not story mandatory. You could not talk about dwarves. You could never learn about Dwarfist philosophy to begin with. And you couldn't get long hair after that.
I think it was an intelligence check too, or wisdom. There's some kind of check probably to get to that level of detail that you did, or persuasion.
To learn about the Panarii lore, and yet all of this is optional. All of everything I'm talking about, all these are heavily contingent on one another. This is like at least combined 2+ hours of content, and all of this would never happen if you didn't pass one investigation check 8 hours ago in gameplay, or probably 10+ hours ago in gameplay.
Yeah, because my guy certainly didn't. He did the tunnels, which I've complained about before, and so I talked to the guy. He gave me the historian character you're talking about, right?
Are you talking about the guys in the two? There's two guys in the room. One's a dwarf, and the other one's an archaeologist. Are you talking about the main guy in the robe when you walk into
the archaeologist guy?
That's who I'm thinking of.
Was it the guy in the robe that has this conversation with you?
Oh yes. So the first NPC you meet with the pews in the temple, that's Alexander.
Oh, him, dude. He would not. Yeah. So we didn't have a connection like that. So I didn't know he had that in him. I didn't even know he had that kind of personality to him.
Dude, he was treating like, oh, senpai. He was giving me the senpai treatment after I killed half the city. That was so refreshing.
That's wild, dude.
So how did the Panarii Temple play out for your character then?
I think I just talked to him. He mentioned where it was, and then I think I just snuck in from the sewers. You can go through the sewers to explore the tomb. I think I was doing a side quest. And I accidentally found the tomb entrance. Went in, you find the skull. It's a human skull rather than an elf skull, because Nasruddin's supposed to be an elf. And there's some stuff scrawled on the inside that suggests
a broken circle. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, you take that back and you just speak with what's his name? Maximus or whatever, the leader of the church, and that architect guy. And effectively they come to the conclusion that our religion's fake. Basically you hat tip atheists, checkmate them, and they're like, oh wow, everything we believe is totally wrong. Tell us any updates. And again, I did find out more later. Actually, I met a certain guy that we'll talk about in a minute, but that reveals it, and you go back and talk to them, it doesn't do anything. You have to find the ruins of the cave you're talking about, the cave of Saint Manox, who is the founder of the Panarii Church we referenced before.
Yeah.
Very, very, even in my memory, it's vague, convoluted, just running between 3 people trying to get.
Finding the cave is really obtuse. You start at Stonehenge, and I think you go vaguely north.
Yeah.
For a long while.
But it's not required. It's an optional.
Well, to do Magnus's quest, you have to, because remember, the only way to get the purple key to unlock the second bunker to reveal is with Magnus. Yet again, all these are interconnected. I love the fact that main quests weave so heavily with the side characters, because 3 main companions tie in heavily with the main quest, by the way, or get major reveals or hooks.
I like it. Yeah, it's just I just struggle to find the connections. It feels like I did a lot of running around talking to people 3 times until I got the right guy or the right quest comment to get reactivity. But when you get it, it's really well thought out. Was there anything else on the Panarii Church part, or anything else on Caladon? Otherwise, we can just blow this.
This is yet another thing about fucking sewer levels. Great XP farm, but it's the pixel hunting. In order to find the
Yeah.
hole where the religious part is, it's right near the. I went through the entire fucking thing, and you finally find the one crack in the wall, but it leads you to a door that's locked. So you had to go through the sewers again and go through the religious another hole in the wall in the sewers to get to the coffin.
Mhm.
And I could you open the thing is the door. I think you could avoid all this, by the way, if you wear a pilgrim's robe and tell the guards, "Hey, I'm here to see the just to pray at the coffin." He's like, "Yeah, sure, walk in." So you
Bro,
could,
really?
yeah.
Damn.
So if I wonder if you could just borrow like Virgil's robes and just wear him and just walk right in.
So is it a special robe or is it how to test this? Is it just any robe, like a brown robe?
It says if I looked it up, I think yeah, you have to wear a pilgrim's robe. So since Virgil's part of the Panarii Religion, I assume you just wear his robe and you're allowed to walk right in.
Oh, that's so cool. I might have to test this for next time because that would be that's on par with in Fallout One where you wear that was it the metal armor or the whatever and they think you're the guy's ghost father. You know, that's like
Yeah,
on par with that. It's like it's obscure, like well, just try it out. It might
yeah,
work.
yeah. If you have a luck of 9 and you wear his armor, yeah, exactly, right. It's such a great little touch, and it's a part of the Cain Code. And like, I kind of, as some of you may know, I've been really into TTRPGs recently. And once you do experience TTRPGs, a lot of the design philosophy of the old CRPGs makes a lot more sense. Because as a player, like you would like if you were a DM and like, oh, you have to go through my OC dungeon to dungeon crawl to get to the religious man's temple. I'm like, well, can I just roll a disguise check with as a
Yeah.
temple? Yeah, that's something an intuitive decision a player would do. Is like, can I just sneak through? Or if I'm an incel freak, can I just go into the sewers or something like that? There's so
Mhm.
many decisions because even Tim Kaine was talking about the flaw system in famously in Outer Worlds 2 about the flaws about two characters get flaws. To be fair, there's also to be fair, I have a flaw, which is a strong personality. Where even
Mhm.
before I did the Haitian Revolution, if y'all remember in Cumbria, I literally could not finish a quest line because the old man Cuck would fight me on sight and chase me around town.
But nearly all the backgrounds have that give and take aspect to them. You know, if you're going to gain strength, you're going to lose. Like, what is it? Like, you're short sighted if you're a bookworm. You're smarter, but you lose perception, et cetera,
Yeah,
et cetera.
or the Jinx, right? The Jinx playthroughs where everyone gets increased criticals, but also critical failures. And Tim Kaine gets a story about he was playing a superhero RPG as a kid, and there was no limit in all the negative traits you had, but you had more skill points to put in your superpowers. So he played as a one-legged cripple who was like blind or some shit like that, but he had the powers of basically One Punch Man, where if you get him to fight Cthulhu, he could kill Cthulhu in one punch. Like he would literally hop on one leg and be completely blind like Helen Keller. Uh, and so, because of that experience with tabletop, that's why we get traits in Fallout, or why we have traits in Arcanum,
Hmm.
where yes, every single NPC in urban areas, also random other story relevant characters will kill you on or try to attack you on sight.
It's such
Well,
a good point. Yeah.
which is it's such a unique aspect of tabletop, which is very rarely replicated in RPGs. Actually,
Well, it was trying to replicate the feeling of having a game master or a DM as opposed to having um, a game, like a narrativized game. I think it kind of gets some of my maybe some of my complaints being my Todd's Law tier complaints about not having clear paths to some of these things is it's like you're saying they're going to that old school. I want to replicate how a human would respond to some of your outlandish comments, and we're not going to do a perfect job of it. It's a game. We can only code so many different reactions into it, but we're going for that feeling as opposed to laying out which is the modern style, lay out two clear paths forward. Do you want the renegade path or you want the paragon path? And that's it. That times 100 is all your quote unquote decisions in the game. Whereas this is way more in the like, what conceptually could I think happening, even if it's weird, and then you get these weird outlier Sanderlanches you're talking about, which is like it's almost like you to your point, it's like a game master doing prep for a D&D session or whatever.
Yeah.
And like what could happen, but they're doing that for an entire game. It's a totally different way of thinking about it than modern game.
Yeah, because that's something I would do. Like, for example, like, can we go back to talking Bates? He's like, and you'll be like, dude, what the fuck? You gotta go see the void. Well, yeah, but Dave, don't you remember that Bates wants to learn?
Yeah,
and you're like,
asked
oh,
me,
fuck.
and I promised. My character keeps promises. That's his thing.
Yeah, so you have to. Oh fuck! All right, god damn it! You have to pull some shit out of your ass. Oh, by the way, one of my companions is a Dwarfish King. So does he have any thoughts on my Dwarfish King companion since it's established that Bates? It really is. It really is. Yeah, it's the DM thing where it's a sandbox where the DM is. Oh fuck! I have to think about. Goddamn Gabe is going to bring his. He wants to talk to Gilbert Bates again. So this tutorial level character from fucking 4 sessions ago during the campaign, I have to fucking find out and try to remember what the fuck he's even doing anymore.
Yeah, justify him having a conversation. Also, he has to have an elvish girlfriend now. Jesus, am I going to roleplay her?
Oh, you can have 2 elvish girlfriends, and of course they got to be catty with each other. Because if I remember correctly, the Dwarvish one you can get from the Dark Elves can have a dialogue with Raven as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, you can see that because BioWare is very persona based. It's narrative. Are you going to choose option A or option B? It's both quote unquote options, but the optionality in Cain based games it's much more mechanical driven. Or what if I do this? Mm-hmm. While it's much more dilemma based in BioWare games. Here's what you could do. Here's 2 branches of what you could do versus what would this particular character intuitively want, and based on his desires of this character archetype and the characters around him, what would they want?
Yeah, and it's very reflective of the way you're playing that character as opposed to the world responding, which is the Cain way, which I can see why and why BioWare was so successful, because it's a narrow path. You can put more development time into things, whereas this approach, especially when it's a larger game, a shorter one like Age of Decadence, which is super fascinating. We should probably like just do an episode on that someday, but like it kind of works there. It has some issues, but like in a large game like this, it leads to these I don't want to use the word Sanderlanche. It's more like you get these obscured behind you'll never find me, I'm hiding behind 3 skill checks kind of scenarios where it's like, well, I didn't have 17 int at level 12, so I didn't get this, so I'll never be able to see this. It ends up with these weird scenarios when you're trying to extrapolate that out. I don't think anyone's really solved that problem. But it's kind of like Sim was saying, like back in this day, they were trying. It's interesting because even when it didn't work, you could see they were trying weird things. And with like you said, the TTRPG goggles on, you get why they were trying to replicate in this way, and you could see where it's awkward, but you can also be like, damn, like why the fuck? I wish someone would try more like this, because this is, I think we're like hitting on the core of the good shit. When I was hating on myself for being a Todd's Law slave, because I think what you're saying, like this is what I like about these games. It's why I come back to them.
Right, and if you notice, I wonder, because I know for a fact that maybe Todd played D&D back in the day. I think Brian, one of the writers, Brian, not Kirkbride, someone else, Brian something, said, of course, Todd always played a barbarian character. He hated magic.
Of course.
Well, so I know for a fact maybe Todd played in D&D, but I doubt that Emil has played D&D or has any extensive RPG background, not like Tim. So there's 3 like evolutions of RPG design. You got I grew up when I was 12 playing GURPS, which is Tim Kaine, which is Chris Avellone. Remember, before he went to the game industry, Chris Avellone was writing source books for TTRPGs before he went to Interplay. And remember, when he was doing the design document for Van Buren was based on, he homebrewed a Fallout PMP campaign, and he used that as basically like a concept design for the original Fallout 3. So the TTRPG roots were so strong that Chris Avellone was really running a campaign, a homebrew Fallout campaign, to model the actual video game Van Buren, to actually figure out what would an RPG be like in the Fallout universe. So it's very Baudrillardian, where the copy of the copy of the copy. Video games are copying TTRPGs, but then you loop it back that Fallout is back to being a tabletop again, and feed that back into video game design. So there's three families, which is the model, character, choices. And again, as much as possible, the flexibility, the mechanics, and the world. What does the character want? What does the stats imply that they want? And how do these characters interact, even if it's unintuitive or not quote unquote satisfying? Well, BioWare, yes, does have choices and character reactions, but it's much more narrow. You could say it's much more rich. It's narrow but much more deep because all the characters are voice acted in the Mass Effect games, and everyone loves. Oh, I love this character. I can do Renegade or stuff like that. But there's no off the wall thing. You can never in Mass Effect. You can never have an ending. You can't just say fuck off, right, and decide option C. But I guess there's a third option in the last Mass Effect or something like that. But you know what I'm trying to get at. There's I'm going to have the Haitian Revolution, and all the aliens hate me, and half my party leaves me because of my actions.
There's levels of, I guess, railroading effectively is what we're talking about, but that's the trade-off as opposed, and they're very different categories. We all could lump together as CRPGs, but one is, and it sucks because we also just label them as, oh, is it 2D or 3D? That's kind of become the proxy for this. Is like if it's a 2D game, aka like original Fallout, Baldur's Gate, and all that, versus if it's 3D. But I don't think that's exactly what it was. It was more the mindset that existed at TTRPG roots during the 2D era, and then, like you said, the copy of the copy of the copy situation that came to dominate after, I don't know, like 2000, 2008 or whatever, somewhere in that range. And that's basically the default. That's basically the only style that seems to exist now.
Right, yeah, because Mass Effect is authorial. A Bethesda style is much more amusement park, where they strip and strip and strip, and it's only in, like, for example, only in a TTRPG one, like if you go to, let's say I never played Mass Effect, but let's say you go back to the starting level of Mass Effect.
Oh no, another one.
Listen, I
saw Mr. B-Tongue.
I watched the Mr. B-Tongue video. I think I watched Saltbacker's video. I'm going to play it. I will probably end up playing it one of these days. I hear Mass Effect 1's really good. But because I guarantee you there's not going to be an option of what if the player meets a character 40 hours in and that character's cousin is in the tutorial level and he goes back to the tutorial level to get reactivity. Right? Because that's not part of the authorial mission of BioWare style RPGs, where you can only think of that if you had that one fucking player that wants to talk to that OC he liked in the tutorial village, which is exclusively, or same thing with Bethesda. Very rarely will the first half of a Bethesda level map have any reactivity after the middle part, right? Like Sanctuary Hills in Fallout 4, you use it, I guess. Oh yeah, you have to build the goddamn teleporter, but the characters never evolve or develop to any degree. Or Diamond City is completely static, right? You have a flag change. You can't have synths killing all the humans, for example, or anything like that. It's only in my characters are deeply creative. As a DM, you're going to have what if my character does something completely retarded and we have to fail forward? Like that is an aspect. Like what if my player wants to kill children in Fallout 1? Oh fuck, I'm going to have a reactivity where you get a child killer perk, but whoever wants to kill you. But wait, the game has to still be completable. How does everyone be aggro? How does all NPCs want to kill the player and still complete the game?
I have a proposal based exactly from what you're saying. There's 3 categories of CRPG that hitherto 4 we have not labeled appropriately. Authorial, like you said, that's the BioWare genre. You have a clear path. Maybe there's an A and B with a slight variation at the midpoint. Maybe 1 or 2 characters, but in the end, maybe you choose the red, blue, or green ending, right? And that's
The
like also the
cupcake one,
Deus
the
Ex.
cupcake endings.
Yes, that's the authorial. Then the other one, what was the one you said? The narrativist? Was that it?
Oh, people use amusement park rides.
Amusement park. Thank you. That was it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry. I'm mixing up. Yeah, authorial narrativist is the same. Amusement park, which is Todd Slop. Amusement park is you have maximal freedom, but the world is minimally reactive. I'd say, basically all the Elder Scrolls more or less is this, where you can mechanically do a lot of stuff, plot wise. The world, pretty minimal, but in a way, it's very freeing because you can do whatever. The world's not super narratively responsive, but it's very free. And then I would label the Cain code, the Cain genre is component based primarily. Like Arcanum is component based. It's built out of these components geographically in terms of towns, in terms of characters, in terms of maybe plot flags that is super concerned and oriented around these like individual actions, individuals having responses to those actions. Very component. It doesn't always fit neatly together in a narrative sense because sometimes things are a little squirrely, but you can still finish the game. And it doesn't always allow quite the total freedom in terms of you can't be the leader of 10 guilds. You side with the orcs. There's going to be a component response to that. That's my proposal. Maybe there's a better title for that, but I think those are the three like real genres and what people are saying when they I like the 2D computer RPGs. I think that's what they're talking about. They're talking about this third genre.
Right. No, I 100% agree because you could do an Arcanum style in first person. The way your character's camera isn't the issue.
Yeah.
The issue is fundamental. The brain going on. It's right brain versus left brain. Like BioWare types, they're purely narrative. I want to tell a good story, complex characters and character arcs. Where in Arcanum, there is character arcs, but it's a one man show, which is you want to learn about your character's companion side story so you can fuck them and learn about their beat past. Well, in Cain Code, there is a character arc, but it's deeply dependent on how much effort the main character, the player wants to put into it, and is reactive to that. It is a 2-man show in a TTRPG based one.
Yeah, you might play all the way through and have, Magnus might still be on his first plot beat. Like he might not have figured out anything else. And maybe other characters too. Like it doesn't bind it towards the main plot progression like a narrativist BioWare game would. And it doesn't just not care about it like a Todd Slop Playground would, right? Where you just like talk to them twice and they'll just tell you the whole life story. It's like a little bit in the middle on that character arc portion, and like just either do it or don't. But it's not forcing you.
Yeah, the narrativist wants to tell you a story. It's like, why would we? For example, you can never talk to Magnus, or you can really lock yourself out of Magnus. You can, like what Samsara did, have Virgil be killed in the first 2 hours of gameplay.
Him and the dog dead in a ditch. Yeah,
yeah. It's like a BioWare developer like, dude, you're missing so much content in the characters. The story would be less meaningful, right? Because BioWare does very character-oriented stories. Well, no, actually, both Todd and Cain would say the characters are subservient to the freedom and the reactivity of the player, but both of them would mean two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
With Todd, it's like, I should have freedom to do anything, go to any place on the map, to shoot anything, to go to any level. It's very much travel-oriented with Bethesda, where it's all about the open world experience, right? The quote-unquote step-out moment. But the thing is, the characters are subservient to the player, but that subservience is based on the character wanting to interact with other characters in a logical way. Thus, yes, the character's needs in the narrative are subservient to the player, but the player wanting to believe have suspension of disbelief and wanting to believe in a world in a realistic manner, the character's wants is the wants of having the characters act out within this fictional world as if they themselves have wants.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Gilbert Bates wants to know about the dwarves. That is a main character point. And if a character thinks, because this is probably a scenario in Leonard's head, Leonard probably wrote this. Like, well, what if the character wants to go back to Mr. Bates and tell him about the dwarves that happened to the Void? Even though the Void is the main plot now, he's going on his character journey now. What if he wants to go back to that character and tell him that? Well, in a Bethesda storyline, like other than a one quest in Fallout 3, Back to the Home Front, which is oddly good, once a main character in the first 2 hours of gameplay has served their purpose, even if said character would have a logical interest in something that happens later on in the plot, Todd would say, well, we're at this plot. It ruined the pacing, right? It ruined the moment. Just continue on. There's new stuff. There's new dungeons to explore. There's new randomly generated loot to have, right? the thought would even come to their head, right? So it's for Todd, all the characters are frozen in place to be
waiting for you to show up and talk to them.
Right. Well, the Cain code, they predict, okay, based on incentive structures, if my character is a selfish thief, how would he interact with these good character archetypes, bad character archetypes, the Thieves Guild, and how can I tie in, if the character is playing a thief, how can I tie in the Thieves Guild to the main quest? Which is, for example, what happened with your thing with the matchbooks, where he got a fake ID from the Thieves Guild, for example. So there's a mechanical thinking ahead with the Cain code.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in terms of plot hooks, but then also just like your actual skills to be able to access these things, which is not in either of the other ones. It's not really consideration, which honors player choice in a way, because you have to choose to play a certain character, but it has the downside of creates bloat in that there's stuff you're not going to be able to access. You may never find out, and I understand, and then it results in wasted effort on the development team. But I mean, this is super interesting. But I do want to power through. It's getting late. We have a bunch of shit to cover still.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the theory cell spurging.
No, I was part of it. It's. I think there's more there too. So I don't want to like cut it off, but I do want to. We did the Panarii Temple. Basically, he tells you where to go, but I didn't want to fucking miss, dude, the Half-Ogre Island. Did you do the Half-Ogre Island this time, or were you not even able to because of your wanted status?
Oh yeah, the Half-Ogre Island. If I remember, it's just for the Gnomes conspiracy, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. And we've kind of skipped over until now, but yeah, just the Gnomish conspiracy. We can just do that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, famously, yes. I'm pretty much locked out of that because I think the main character died in Toronto, if I recall correctly.
Probably, yeah. Because if you hadn't talked to me, he's standing in that middle like garden area, Matt DeCesar. And okay, well the arc, just for people that maybe haven't played in a minute. So you bump into Matt DeCesar in Toronto way at the beginning of the game. He says, "Oh, find my contact." Blah blah blah. It's revealed that he's wanted. There's that you collect some skulls for them of these Siamese twins. The guy confers with you and whispers to you. It's part of a weird breeding program. Very hush hush. You get led to a dead end where some guy, they tell you to meet a guy in Ashbury, I think it was. But there's just a letter that says he fled to Caladon effectively. So it's like, okay, 15 hours later, you get to Caladon, you finally meet the dude. And he's like, okay, here's the info. Some shit's going on this island. You take a boat over. And yeah, this was my first time playing it, even though it was someone that liked Arcanum.
Wow, the most infamous quest of Arcanum, the first thing that pops into everyone's mind is the Gnomish guild meme.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I was aware of it, but I never did it. It's really fucking disturbing, dude. Like in terms of what they did with really simple tools, you just land on this island. You need to pay the boat guy to take you there. It's got the creepy dungeon music, the sort of like whispering, like shoo, 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 as you show up in this empty industrial the factory full of like harnesses, and this book about like burning through women and stealing street urchins to breed them with half-ogres. It's just grim.
And the queen too, the Queen of Toronto, if I recall correctly, right?
Yeah, they shipped her there to be bred.
She bred. I think she gave birth to 4 half-orcs before finally dying.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they talk about. Like women kept expiring, and they tried breeding men with them too, but it didn't work, and it was just a whole thing. And then they cut funding for it. And so anyway, you take it back, you give the guy, or you plan to give the guy this journal that has all this evidence, and said there's a little gnome just standing there, like, oh, who'd even believe you? It's all, basically, I mean, it's super 90s conspiracy coded.
Well, it's much more. I got the Gnome Steam files on my desk as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah, it was legitimately disturbing. Like, it was really well done with such there was like no special assets, I don't think, for it. So it's just credit to what good writing and just like good level design with the same tool shit you see everywhere else. It's just the same skeleton resources and music that's used elsewhere in the game. But it's super effective because also there's no real conclusion to it. And there's no real quest to the last portion either. You just see it and you just get back and you just see the guy and he's like, who's going to even believe you? And you can kill him or not. I killed him, of course, but it's just like, well.
Yeah, because they switched the guy, right? The actual journalist that asked you to beforehand get sacked or killed or disappeared.
Yeah, he's vanished. Yeah, yeah. And it's just the gnome there. Just taunting you with this knowledge that everyone's going to think you're crazy if you talk about this stuff.
Yeah, it's so. And by the way, that quest was 100%. It's actually like Tim brought it up. That quest was written by Boyarsky, by the way.
Is he Hebe shielding with that one though?
Well, no. Well, Boyarsky is, sad to say. Well, he is a typical example of a self-hating Jew.
Is that what it is? Okay.
So because people Tim was like, it's accused of anti-Semitism, and Boyarsky was like, well, I have a Jewish friend. I see him every time I shave my face in the morning.
That's pretty funny.
Well, no, he didn't say that. I said in his head.
Okay.
Boyarsky is too much of an edgelord golf kid. He's far too sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear as day that Boyarsky was projecting the ordeal of civility, especially if you read the manual about how Dwarvish dynamics, Gnomish dynamics work. Like it's
that? I don't remember this.
About how they treat their women. Women are kept inside the home, and obviously they're very clan. I think he even says they they're rootless cosmopolitans.
It does say that, yeah, word for word. It does. Yeah, I do remember that part.
Boyarsky's a well-read guy. I mean, he would clear as day. I mean, he named it after Troika, which is they did say it was partly inspired by his Slavic heritage.
Mm-hmm.
So Boyarsky's not a dumb guy. I'm pretty sure it is a commentary on his heritage.
Yeah,
a very self-loathing or a
self-effacing, at least a little cheeky. The scheme of the Jew, which it honestly adds a lot of charm to it. Even if you're not into that, kind of thing, if you're not into the era, I think you can still enjoy it as it was very much of the time period, like Boyarsky's into that World War II iconography, graphic design. And this is like Industrial Revolution, anti-Semitism, pogroms. Like that's a part. It's in the water.
The Orcish question.
The Orcish question. Yeah. These are all shit people are talking about the late 1800s. Is this industrial stuff? So like it adds a lot to it, even in a non-meme way.
Yeah, it's something that the gnomes would do. They would breed. They're very physically weak, so they would want slaves that are super strong, but also super dumb, so it's easy to control. Even if from a totally non-real world equivalent, it makes sense for the verisimilitude of the setting. Leonard said he was based on X-Files. He was a big X-Files fan. Him and Chad Moore, the co-author of this, who was also very good. Chad Moore actually wrote the final villain of Arcanum. So Chad Moore also deserves his flowers as an author. And he'll be writing Clockwork Revolution,
which we'll cover day one. Thank you again, Tim, for coming on and sharing your thoughts with Clockwork Revolution. Sorry to take it down. It got a little too spicy there. We take it off the channel, but we can repost it soon. Okay.
Yes. So, by the way, we will have the Tim Kaine interview back up as soon as possible.
Just give us a couple weeks. 2 more weeks, guys.
2 more weeks. Trust the plan.
I get on say in the Half-Ogre Island. Like, it's pretty short. It lives large in the game's legacy, but it's like a little. It's spread out over the entire game, but it's like maybe 15, 30 minutes of the entire game, if even.
Also, another side note, by the way, the man who wrote that was the narrative lead for Outer Worlds 2.
Let that sink in. I haven't played it. I probably never will. So I have no thoughts.
Well, technically it's a Cain game, so you kind of have to cover it. And I already have the sunken cost fallacy. I spent $100 on it.
You got the bonus content. You got the DLC.
I literally bought it for the art book because Leonard gave so much of a shit, and it's filled with historical references because that's what Leonard is best at. And none of the interviews has talked about it at all, or clearly the themes he's alluding to. Like I've shown you, like there's a painting, the concept art for Outer Worlds 2 that's clearly a reference to the famous painting of Otto von Bismarck, and it ties into the narrative of Outer Worlds 2. And the thing is, it's hidden in a game no one gives a fuck about. And Leonard's not the guy who do interviews, so Leonard went above beyond in a typical Leonard way for it to be like forgotten forever.
Yeah, Leonard is such like a Sisyphean character. Like, just think about his life. Like he decided the whole like cake scene, the end of Fallout. He ends up having like a millennial woman explain how Fallout's about capitalism to him. What else? He developed Vampire the Masquerade, only to have it be like bombed by tech issues and was it like licensing issues because it was a Steam thing. His whole like career, like he's just this brilliant, great decision maker, but he's always in the shadow of other stuff and just kind of forgotten unless you're in our particular weird corner. But even then, he's always a bit player compared to, the great the Fargo and of course Tim.
Right, which is because the thing is, Tim actually gives, like, he will say constantly that Leonard did much of the aesthetic of Fallout and the narrative of Fallout.
But he doesn't live in the popular imagination. Like it's not a Tim. I'm not criticizing him at all, but it's a popular conceptualization of the man. And I guess him not doing interviews adds to that because there's not a ton of stuff out there from him.
Well, the credits say that a guy named Tim Cain was the director of Fallout, so that must mean he came up with everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and I 100% agree with you. Like Leonard is generally I would say a sincere capital A artist. Like he puts in so much fucking effort into this both as an artist, as the aesthetics, and as a writer. Like he's a fucking shockingly good writer once you figure out what he's actually written. Like, oh my god!
No, is it like does he tell it somewhere, or you just kind of intuit it via the subject?
The credits, it's very hard, especially during the 90s, because everyone was a jack of all trades back then. But Tim said explicitly during the interview of Leonard on his channel, the gnome quest, that was you, right, Leonard? The most infamous quest in all of Arcanum?
He was clearly trying to make sure his ass wasn't on the line from Peak Woke. But even so, yes, it does prove the point. Leonard's fucking right again.
Yeah, I mean, Leonard chose the ending of the original Fallout ending. I mean, the whole concept of the retro-futurist aesthetic. And the thing is,
is the game, like literally, like no one would know shit about the game if it wasn't for Leonard. Like if it was just a generic post-apocalyptic, it would be in the dustbin with Wasteland.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, he loves Frank Miller comics books, by the way, because a lot, like a 10mm is based on the gun from Hard Broiled, which is a Frank Miller comic. Mm-hmm. And he's influenced a lot by Frank Miller. He constantly talks about the Dark Knight, and you could definitely see there's about the idea of making a myth. Because when Leonard was interviewed about Fallout 1, he's like, the reason why I wanted the Vault Dweller to leave at the end, to be banished out, is that Road Warrior thing where Mel Gibson's character walks out into the desert. He enters the film a man, but he wanders out to the desert as a legend, the myth of the Road Warrior. And the same thing for the Vault Dweller. He goes from being a man to being a legend. He says, I want that mythic element, which is very much, Frank Miller did a great interview where he's like, superheroes be treated as myths and as gods, right? It's be a hyper sense of reality to them. Mm-hmm. And if you're a big Frank Miller fan like I am, you can definitely see that Sin City / Daredevil heightened reality. You get something that's a human emotional core, and you see that peak and being seeded into something that's like like mythic at the end,
Mhm.
or heroic, or that's why like Leonard's not a realist. Like his art is not, it's not made for the modern day graphics whore Red Dead 2. You can see each hair on the horse's testicle thing, right? It's very stylized with Leonard,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean, both narratively and artistically. And it's such a shame that this man who started, he was very young comparatively. I think he was in his early 30s when he made Fallout, right? He had so much to give to the industry, and he only has three good games. It,
Okay, that's a little mean. He's made a lot of great art. Okay, he's made a lot of. Who knows what else I actually don't know what he's been on beyond some of the RPGs, but I mean, he's made legendary stuff, and it's the same thing with Tim, where it's like, but even worse because he's made this $1 billion franchise. Like like Fallout would just not be what it is without him. But he's like his name is even less than Tim Kaine, right? Like if people think Fallout, they think, oh, Todd Howard, of course, Todd, and then maybe people know Tim Kaine, and then of that, maybe half of those people know the full triumvirate.
yeah,
But
but you know what sucks, by the way? Leonard, I think Tim let it slip that yeah, Leonard hates the show, and specifically the
base,
power armor. Like he's like, oh, Leonard would constantly rant about how come they didn't use a T-51? The T-51 looks so much better. Which is, yeah, again, Leonard did design the power armor. The power
mhm.
armor Fallout 1 is T-51, while the power armor in the show is T-64, which is Bethesda's OC one, and it looks like
Yeah,
dog shit in comparison.
yeah.
And you can scrounge in RPG Codex. Dude, there's multiple posts from Leonard when he posted there, and where how much he is seething hatred of Bethesda buying Fallout from under him.
Oh my god, dude, we got to do a Boyarsky
Bunker, the
bunker.
Boyarsky
That's it, the
bunker.
Boyarsky bunker. I knew we had one. All right, let's finish this up. It's getting late. I want
Oh
to
yeah,
just
sorry. We'll
no.
be back on topic, but
It's good. There's not much. So Half-Ogre was a detour. We did the Panarii Church. So this is why I call it the bloated back end. Maybe we should split something more, but like there's just not that much unique stuff in between it. It's a lot just running point to point. So there's the boat thing. You need a boat because now we've realized from the Panarii Church that we need to go find the corpse or remains of Nazruddin because Nazruddin's skull is in there. Instead, there was like a vague reference that it's at the southernmost point of the world, which is this island Thanatos to the south. But of course, no boats go to Thanatos, so you need to get your own boat because this is Arcanum. There's no like, easy way anywhere. How did you do it, Gabe? Do you remember?
uh
There's
fuck,
like two or
actually,
three ways you can get there.
man. To be honest, I think I just had virtual teleport me because I'm trying
Base.
to rush. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's not a bad decision. Well, no, because the bloat, dude. The easy way, what I did, you just buy a boat. If you show up at a Blackroot, there's a guy there who says, oh, at this point in the game he wasn't there before, and he's like, oh, hey, I'll sell you a boat for 50,000 gold, something crazy.
Oh, is
But
he the one of the two half orc guards, by the way?
yep, yeah. He's got two Half-Ogres with him, and he'll sell it to you. And then whenever you travel anywhere, now you have a boat, so you don't have to pay for boats, which doesn't really matter anyway. But okay, cool. You have your own boat. You can ride it to Thanatos. I think you can use. Oh no, you can't use the guy who took you to the Isle of Despair because he has a plot point that he lost his boat in a gambling bet or something like that. I think you can gamble it back if you max gambling. I might be making that up. The other way I did when I first played this game is you go in this whole weird side quest where there's this legendary Blackbeard the pirate type guy who died 100 years ago. His name is Stringy Pete, and you have to like go do a weird side quest to carry a thing to a thing, and then you can fight him and 100 skeletons and you get a free boat. Then really weird considering the plotting, the pacing, and the tone of the game at this point. It's like, okay, now we're gonna have like a D&D ass side quest to get a boat. Okay. um Part of the weird and sorry to go back in TTRPG, but there's like some weird D&D DNA in this game that I think actually is kind of a detriment to what I said earlier about how
Mm.
the setting of Arcanum is not as concrete and strong as the pitch. I think like the D&D influence is a little too strong in some parts, and this is one of them. But anyway, you get to Thanatos, and I just had this labeled in my notes. I just wrote Thanatos, Valley of the Apes Part 2. Nazardan reveal. That's all I have. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, is there anything to do other in that island other than talk to Nazardan? Because I think I just sped run to go to Nazardan.
I went on the website yesterday just to see, and there's like one other spot that if you talk to Nazardan, he'll send you to, and it's just a little tree grove with 100 gorillas you fight. Like that's it. So yeah, there's technically a second thing, but it's just more gorillas. Because when you walk to find Nazardan, you go to the location. It's called Nazardan's Resting Place, and it's just a trail through trees, and it's just a railroad trail. And there's just 100 gorillas going to attack you. It's insane.
Yeah, it's more grind slop, basically.
Yeah. None of them are hardy. They're at this point. Yeah, it's just click, click, click. But you get to him, and I guess that's where we can basically end the episode. Is he says, well, first of all, it's actually a cool twist the first time you play this. Like, at least for me, when I first saw this, I was like, huh? I'm not Nazardan? This motherfucker is real? And he was just, because he's just standing there in a little hut. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm miserable, and I'm Nazardan, and I'm just trying to hide from the world because I'm over it all.
Yeah, and he reveals the plot that he faked the religion because he needed people to maintain the circle, the Stonehenge. Mm-hmm. Right, because the original name of the Panarii Religion was the Keepers of the Keepers of the Bind, or Keepers at the Gate, which you could find from the guy who's an ethnologist who's reading the original untranslated Elvish text of Panarii. And when you read the inscription at a tomb, he's like, huh, it's odd. The original translation of Panarii meant Keepers at the Gate, which isn't in the official Bible. I wonder what that means. And so it turns, I don't remember exactly. So from my understanding, so this is what the fuck is Arcanum actually about? We're going to try to actually explain things logically. So the Elven Council had a civil war with the Edgelord Aranex because the Vendigrothians were doing an uprising with technology. So he nukes them. He kills them all. And Nazardan, who is Aranex's father, banishes him using the Stonehenge. And he then activates ice or magic. He finds the Panarii Religion as basically ice border control
to keep him in. Yeah,
yeah, and he fakes the religion because the magical border can only be kept up with religious liturgical rites to maintain like the magic, the intensity of the magic. So
is that why? I actually don't even remember that part. I know he started it, but I can't remember if it was malicious or not, or if it was just like, hey guys, make sure you maintain this. And then it became corrupted into this worship of Nazardan.
Well, no, I think if I remember correctly, the subversion of people of the Panarians not knowing that it was actually they were supposed to just keep them away and not just endless worship of Nazardan. Was I think that was the Dark Elves? I think the Dark Elves.
Yeah, definitely.
The Dark Elves were psyoping them to weaken. Yeah, because the barrier between them and the Void has been weakened over time because the Panarii Religion has slowly forgotten what the religion is actually about.
It's also the technology too, the technological expansion because of the whole like ebb of magic that. It's hinted at later that the dwarf tech is able to pierce it because it's like anti-magic, and I guess it's a magical gap between the realms or something. It's not really laid out that clear. There's a lot of like intuiting you have to do from the hints they give you.
Well, because it's like dwarven technology is only first stage technology and it's very focused, while human technology, it grows much more like a supercharged cancer. Well, like dwarven technology is much more like a stage 1 tumor, basically. It's much more focused and localized. I think that could be a good justification. However, there's a double psyop, right? Because the Dark Elves subverted the religion of the Panarians so they could bring back Aranex and live in base role for Dark Elves. But as it's going to be revealed in the Void, that itself, the Dark Elf religion, has also been a puppet. It's the remember that old meme of the puppet master controlling a puppet master controlling a puppet master with the orange figures?
Yep.
So that's basically that. So both religions have been psyoped for a greater power. because
Yeah.
you will meet Aranex in the void, but it's might go a little differently than expected.
Yeah, it's really Inception to your shit, which is it's awesome. I do like this part in terms of the plot and the reveals.
Well, it's funny you bring up a Nolan film because Leonard actually name drops Memento. He's like,
Oh,
he says, yeah, we based it. There's two big inspirations for Arcanum. He's like, well, I really like the film Memento, which is of course the Amnesia movie with Guy Pearce, and Planescape Torment. Right, this is another one that the student learns from the master, and the master learns from the student. So Leonard was like, "Wow, Planescape Torment was such an amazing. Like, it shows like how serious, legitimate writing can be done in RPG genre." So we felt like we needed to really step our game up, our really step up our game with how much effort we're putting through writing. So the little punk Chris Avalon throws down the gauntlet, while Unc Leonard just fucking throws down his hairy ass balls. It makes the most convoluted,
quadruple Inception tier and plot. It's really good, but yeah, it's like the delivery and pacing of it makes it a little convoluted in parts, but it still really lands for me. It's just that Caladon bit, that running around the temple and all that. Like, yeah, somebody just needed a pass to give it. Granted, I have not played.
Planescape Torment. You never played
I have
Planescape
not
Torment?
played. No, I did play it. I never beat it. I've never beaten it, so I can't pretend like I know the plot. I just know people like it a lot.
Oh my god! Fake fan alert.
I know. Yeah. That's why it's
Well,
not the what's his name? Avalon. It's not the Avalon ass eating show.
the Avalon Alley.
The Avalon Alley. Yeah.
Well, fuck. Now I have to play it too, so we can do Avalon Alley on Cain Corner.
Yeah, no, and there's a little video that plays too of him like throwing a fireball or whatever at his son to capture him, which is the first time we've seen them. So it humanizes these two characters that have been mythologized to you, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm actually I'm among the. It's kind of the mythic thing you're talking about, like wow, I'm among the myths, but at the same time I am not of them because I just realized I'm not this. You very well up until this point might have been role playing as someone that believed you were the reincarnation of Nazruddin, but you've encountered Nazruddin, so you don't even have that to reference Todd Slop again. You can't even have the cope you have in Morrowind, where you're like, maybe I am the Nerevar, maybe I really am. And this one is like, no, you 100. This guy is standing right in front of you, bro. He's looking right at you, like you ain't him, and you have to just like it really shocks you, like, well, who is my guy? Relative to this, which is really fun.
Well, actually, I would like to ask you a question with Leonard. Like, you mentioned multiple times the who's the guy who made Lost? The J.J. Abrams, the mystery box thing. Arcanum is objectively a mystery box game. There's constantly more questions and more questions to keep the player hooked, right? There's constant mystery on top of mystery on top of mystery and subversion of expectations, right? The Ryan Johnson effect. Like you not being a chosen one is the ultimate subversion of expectations. Fallout 1's ending is a subversion of expectations. And it comes out the blue in many ways in Fallout 1. So why is it, do you think, that Boyarsky, for some reason, can get away with subverting expectations without feeling like cynical or kicking the player in the balls?
I think it's because I don't think I would categorize it as a mystery box plot. Because it has a planned ending that's really good and it hits. It definitely is a what was the other one you said where you get sort of teased along? It definitely is that, but it has the mystery box one. It's subverted your expectation. It definitely is Ryan Johnson tier in terms of you get introduced. Hey, you're the living one. I'm going to call you the living one. Be prepared to be subverted, and then it builds you up and it knocks you down. 100%, but it doesn't every single, almost like to an insane level, where we were talking about how you can talk to the stewardess at the hotel and she'll tell you about this, more about the mystery where you find the guy, and you go to the Thieves Guild and more about how the dwarf guy came through the portal, which doesn't really even matter. Like you don't need to know that shit, but like he put in the effort to give you all these cookie crumble trails to follow to lead you to shit. along with the character stuff we were talking about earlier with Gates or Bates. I'll keep flipping those back and forth, which fill in every little detail. It's like, dude, he thought it through, and he had it from the start, from when the game was published. I think that's what makes the difference. So you can't say he didn't have his shit together, even if it is convoluted. Like, granted, it is fucking convoluted sometimes to find some of these plot points, and that can lead to frustration with the game. But it stands for those that have bothered to explore it all the way.
Right. And also, in terms, there's like legality versus like embodied reality. Because, oh my god, you're not the reincarnation of Nazareth. Mm-hmm. That was Virgil. But you're still the guy who was the nearest living survivor, where the gnome was dying, and he says, give the ring to the boy, he'll know what to do. And for all intents and purposes, if it wasn't for the player character, he would never have stopped Aranex, in air quotes, plans to bring death to all of Arcanum. Mm-hmm. So yes, you're not the OC, but through all the shit you have done in the universe at this point, yes, you're not the reincarnation of Nazareth. Actually, you've actually done far more effective changes to the world. You're basically the chosen one in all but name. You're not the Panari's chosen one. You're not Nazareth, but you're Arcanum's chosen one. So I think that's another difference, is because it doesn't restrict agency from the player, because your part expands even more into, and that's why the twist with Aranex we'll see in the finale, it actually sweetens it. And it's like, oh, it's not a kick in the balls, as in, oh, I went through all this maze expecting an ending and I just run through a brick wall. The twist, the subversion of expectations, leads into an entirely new narrative way that continues.
Yeah. Neither of us are who we were supposed to be when you get to the end. But when you look back, it all makes sense, which is why it's so satisfying. It recasts the entire plot that brought you up to that point.
Right. It's yes and rather than no, fuck you. Right? Because in Fallout 1, you being turned away from the vault leads to the player, oh, you don't get to be the hero that comes home and gets a birthday party cake, like what Tim Kaine wanted. You become a mythic hero of the wasteland who founds his own nation and his own tribe and his descendants. So you do the satisfying present pleasure for, yet again, the more mythic thing. Right? You're not the cookie cutter, like, I am the chosen one. In many ways, you're a self-made man through just sheer grit and going through all this drudgery of going to fucking 40 different places for 6 hours to find a book in order to unlock a grave, in order to find another book, in order to put on the Malachian hand necklace, in order to get to the Dark Elves. So through sheer effort, you become a hero that isn't fake and gay and psyop.
Yeah, you've mantled being a hero. All right, if you're good, I think maybe we can call it there on the Caladon through Thanatos quarter or third, more like a third, honestly, a third of the plot of the game, but maybe like an eighth of the gameplay, or at least the memorable gameplay. I mean, so next time we have the finale. So we did the whole left side of the map today. Next time we're doing the top right, Tulla, Vendigroth, which is not a ton, and then the Void, which is the end. Minor spoiler, I guess. But Caladon, the much forgotten, much ignored Caladon. Do you have any, I guess, final thoughts on it, Gabe, on how the world should think about it and how you think about it?
I'm actually I would say I'm actually thankful, Dave. Thankful to you, Dave, for this opportunity, because Caladon really shows like the sheer uniqueness of this game and of Cain games in general. Like in sheer, because Caladon gets no love because the ending is so strong and so powerful, and the whole you can speech check the final boss to kill himself thing, the meme that carried over Fallout 1. But Caladon has his own music too, and it's not just Caladon. it's all the trickle down effects of Caladon and Vishanti, or I forget what Dark Elves and things are. Like that's where all the things, all the little jack in the boxes, like you grind and grind and grind, and then it's just a pure symphony and cacophony of jack boxes cracking open, and then boom, 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 reactivity, 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 and it's so tightly wound for like literally 20 hours of gameplay, and then it finally pays off. It really is, dare I say, a Sanderlanche. Like it's actually that meme term with Brandon Sanderson's writing is actually 100% applicable and done far better because it's just payoff, 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 payoff,
Bro,
and it
you
gets
literally stole it. I was about to say the same thing. I was like, I will never think of Caladon again without thinking the word Sanderlanche in terms of the plot and the connectivity.
it is completely descriptively accurate.
Yeah, it's so good.
Even though
I'm
I've
sorry,
never
go
read a
ahead.
Brandon Sanderson novel.
Yeah, even though I never intend to either, but I share it, and I mean I'll take the credit, but I mean credit to you. I think you raised it in my estimation too. I still hold on. This portion of the game has the most awkward maps. The maps are all oversized, and the spaced out travel thing we mentioned again like the fifth time. But I'd say it's most acute here in terms of the travel, and but in terms of the actual content, it's unfortunate because yeah, so much of it's good. I would absolutely, and at the end of this we'll have to say like, hey, how would you play this again? It's just people play into it with fresh eyes. I, it does lean me more towards that. Why not use the fast travel ring like you did, Gabe? And I wish I did. I wish I thought of that because so much of this there's you know what else we didn't mention really quick. There's some other cool little side quests like assassinating the king you mentioned. I did do that. I didn't. That's not my canon save, but there's a whole castle explore, and you can stealth. There's a lot of like little vents, and there's a lot of love and effort that went into this section that um, I think due to pacing gets overlooked. So it's definitely in a future playthrough. I think it's one like you said, maybe take a break from the game and come
Yeah.
back wanting to play because it's a lot there, and it's easy just to get overwhelmed and just power through the main plot. Like that's definitely what I did my first playthrough is just I just remember powering through this and not doing any of the side quest stuff.
Yeah, I mean, with Arcanum, you can play it once a year. Like you play Fallout 1 during the summer, you play Arcanum during the autumn, and you can replay Vampire during October. Right? And each one of them, you can dead ass play Arcanum at least 3 times. Yes, one tech build, one a mage build, and one wherever the fuck I'm doing, the Amprim build. Like Build a Bomb has been one of the most unique experiences I ever had. The fucking anti-tech user who uses bombs and fucking firearms.
Yeah.
It's such a ass backward character concept, but the fact that you can actually play it and role play it in a way that makes sense
Yeah,
has
destroy
been
society, become a complete outcast. That's pretty crazy.
yeah, it's so memorable. It would be I would take that to the grave of firebombing firebombing fire engines for the Tradcath King of the
Mhm.
South. And I do pose one question though, because yes, it is bloated and it is things start to compound and slightly collapse. It's like it's you get an avalanche of gems, but the coal dust is rising up from the mountain because the mountain's collapsing on itself. I don't know if that's how coal works. I don't know. There's
I assume so. Yeah.
does coal happen in mountains or no?
Yeah, it does. Usually
Yeah,
from
yeah. So the
mountains.
mountain collapses on itself and it compresses on the coal, and the fumes of the coal go up into the atmosphere. But as the mountain collapses, all the gems are hidden in the snow, start rolling down the mountain as it collapses. So as the coal dust rises up in the air, you can see them twinkling like diamonds in the dust, like stars in the dust. So what would the to my beautiful metaphor is trying to say? Can you have a Sanderlanche without the slog? Is it possible to have a Sanderlanche thing without the drudgery? Because the drudgery is building up to the Sanderlanche.
Mm-hmm.
So can you have that the raindrops of reactivity without the slog? Is that even possible?
I think so. I think most of the rest of the game has it more. Like think about Tehran. When we first get to Tehran, and things are connecting from Shrouded Hills and between there and Durnholm. I think it's just this whole second half of the game. They just had too many locations they were trying to fit in, and so things are spread out really far. And there's really no reason you couldn't have. Honestly, all of Caladon could have just been. Oh no, I'm doing it again. It could have just been in Toronto. It could have just been one city. It maybe not that, but it could have. They could have compacted a lot of this, or just done the fast travel different, which I don't think would affect what you're talking about when you're talking about spacing and getting through the coal dust of what I assume you mean is like quest progress, side quests, and stuff like that, which is fine, which is pretty solid here. It's more it's literally the mechanics of like running across a map in a 2D game. Like that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about the coal part of this, which is not necessary. You know what? Forgot to mention, critical. Caladon does not have a metro system. There's no fast travel or anything. And I think that is a part of it too. It's like, bro, just give me like 3 train stops and I can just zip, 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 zip between the ends of the local map.
It does have a port, sweetie. That's why you always have to kill guards every time you travel back to Caladon.
True. Do they respawn?
Yeah, they do.
Jesus.
The guards always respawn every time. That's why I was so happy to have Virgil back.
I gotta be honest, I will never play that playthrough, but I'm glad you got to experience it because it sounds fun and unique, but it sounds kind of miserable.
Yeah, I'm an Anprim terrorist, and I'm playing out as an Anprim terrorist.
All right, well, let's call it there. Good night, everyone. See you next time in the Cain Corner.
I do have a bit. Good night and good tugging. And wait for the blood to drown out the world, where the final nights are coming.